Hello, welcome back. Let me just check everything's right. Yes, we've got audio on. We've got comments in the comments. We're all feeling happy. We're all feeling great. If you're new here, basically, we're going to just talk about yesterday, seeing as we won. It's been a great weekend. It's been a wonderful weekend. It's been a sort of, that kind of if Carlsberg made weekends sort of thing where Blackpool have won. So we might as well enjoy, this when it happens, because it doesn't always happen at home. So we've won, and the other thing as well is the Nobbers have lost today in the FA Cup, which kind of just puts a little cherry on top of the whole icing on the cake. Well, let's just go to the comments. If you're watching this on the rerun, you can post in the comments below and I will answer you. But let's have a chat about yesterday. Let's just a little bit, just go through the comments. We've got Connor here. Hello, Connor. He says, up the mighty pool, UTMP. Eugene McGeever says, hi Lee, happy Sunday. Yes, and double yes, it is happy. Semi-Charm Life says, come on the pool. You know what? I have a sort of favourite song from a long time ago, and I often find myself singing it sometimes on a happy day, and we don't sing it anymore, and we haven't sung it probably since, I was a teenager probably, but it used to go to the tune was These Are the Days, My Friend, which was, I can't remember, some Eurovision star or something. Anyway, but the tune went. And what I used to like about this tune is I like songs that go round and round and round and round. And we used to sing, come on, you mighty pool. Come on, you mighty pool. Come on the pool. Come on the mighty pool. Come on, you mighty pool. Come on, you mighty pool. Come on, you pool. Come on, you mighty pool. Come on, you mighty pool. And it used to go round and round like that. And it used to be so loud. It used to get louder and louder and louder. And I loved it as a song. And I wish one day we'd bring it back, because it is a banger of a song. And you putting Come on the Pool just reminded me of that Semi-Charm Life. So there you are. It's just that song I find myself singing loads of times around the house. And I've always thought it was a brilliant song. We used to do Take My Hand, Take My Whole Life Too, 'cause I can't help falling in love with you. It's got Blackpool, Blackpool. And that was so loud as well. But we don't do those either. But there's a few good songs that need to come back. But anyway, maybe we can discuss that. If anyone has any other favourite songs, like the One Man Went to mow a meadow, Graham Berry, Anyway, evening Lee, evening Peter Donnelly. How are you doing? James Ward Joiner, he says, anyway, not on for long. I hope you enjoyed the game. I'm going Tuesday. Of course I'm going Tuesday. Why would I miss Tuesday? Come on. I got them all. It's my thing. All the home games anyway. Maybe we'll get back into doing away games as well. If we got back in the Championship, we would. NS again, yes again. NS again. NS again. Ole, ole. Right, we're feeling great. Come on. Yes, Preston getting stuff today. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm going to talk about later as well that the media channel do. And if you've not been on this before, we're going to have a look at some of the stuff that Blackpool FC put on their Twitter for everyone to see, so we can all watch it. There's like interviews with Steve Bruce and that. So I'll be showing you that, some of these great camera angles that they film that I have found out yesterday that It's Ramos does. So George from It's Ramos does all those tricky scenes, so no wonder they're good. But sometimes they let us down. They do let us down, and they had a little jibe at Preston. They put a little post on, with us winning the cup, and Matthews, and Harry Johnson, was it, both with the cup, and they put like it's not for everyone, but I think they didn't do the research properly, and I don't know who did it from the media team, and you kind of wouldn't do it if you knew about Blackpool. It wouldn't be what you'd say, and it's one of those things that annoys me with them at times, where they don't really, we have a media team, but they don't really know the history. And Preston have won the FA Cup 2 times. We've only won it once. They've won it twice. So you can imagine, and the Preston fans are up in arms about it, calling us all the names on the sun because we're stupid and thick and all the rest of it, and whatever. And it's abuse you don't need. You could have, if you're gonna stick the knife in, you need to stick it in correctly, and and be smart about it. Yes, it is funny. We are all laughing and everything else. We're all happy they went out, although everybody, and I'm sure you'll all agree, that we'd have all loved to have got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So, you can't be throwing stones when they're in the Championship and they're in an FA Cup quarter final. But anyway, that's for another day. But at the end of the day, we're all, as Blackpool fans, very happy they got beat today. It's great, but as I say, the media team, they need to kind of do the research really. And it's one of the things that disappointed me. I did say I went to the opening of the new fans sign at the back of the South Stand, and it was like Playoff Kings, and they had a guest player for every video that they show. For every one of the finals, they had the highlights of it, and we got to the 4-2 against Leyton Orient, and the video stopped, and the guest speaker, the guy who's going to speak about the game, because they showed the video and then one of the players came up and they talked about the experience of the game, and the guest speaker for the video was Brett Ormrod, right? And any Blackpool fan knows that Brett Ormrod scored the 4th goal, but they just, according to them, we only won 3-2, and then he brought Brett Ormrod on, and it was like so embarrassing. I was like, oh my God, who are these guys? They know absolutely sweet Fanny Adams about Blackpool. And that's the thing that disappoints me with these like media companies where, they do like, I don't know, 20 or 30 odd clubs or whatever. And they're just, I don't know, they just let you down on those sort of things. And I was a bit disappointed in that tweet, I've got to say. Preston 3-0 on the big day out. Yeah, but we'd have liked that big day out, I've got to say. And it is a stupid song. Come on. It's a stupid song. They sing it, if they sing it to us, it's still a stupid song because we don't get battered everywhere we go, do we? We do. We battered Bolton yesterday, but Bolton don't get battered everywhere they go, do they? They got battered today. I wish there was a better song than that, really. Something like, Bolton got battered today or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, I know it's a song, but I just think it's a stupid song. Although I do like singing it, it's great. It is a piss takey song, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a piss takey song, but sometimes it's just, it doesn't always fit right somehow. WG fans says highly, very great day yesterday. Beating Bolton while they're on the playoff run is always satisfying. Yeah, well, are we, the question is, are we all thinking that, maybe, just maybe, this is the kind of thing that Blackpool do? I was saying to somebody yesterday that with 7 games to go, this is when our perfect 10, if there was going to be a perfect 10 in the next game on Tuesday, that would be the start of a perfect 10. So if we were to win every game, we'd actually do a perfect 12. So it would be better. Tommy97. Hi Lee, Thomas here. Great win yesterday, just hanging on at the end, but credit to defence. Even though they had some good chances and maybe a draw would have been a fair result, but a win is a win. Yeah, of course it. And it kind of, a few people have said it kind of made up a little bit for losing against Leyton Orient. But, the thing is, if we'd have won against Leyton Orient, we'd be just a couple of points off now, and we'd be really, you'd be starting to dream, wouldn't you? I mean, I still am dreaming a little bit, but there's a long way to go, and it's made Tuesday night very, very important now against Reading. It's another massive, massive game. We've got to win it, and, they're up there, aren't they? So it's not easy. Connor Rand says, yeah, Tuesday is absolutely huge win, and we genuinely are in the playoff race, all or nothing, 7 cup finals left. Well, this is it. And they look to me like a team. I have mentioned in my comments that they looked like they were upset about Leyton Orient and felt it was unjust, and they've really turned the heat up in the last 2 games, and they've played. I thought Blackpool at times played some amazing football yesterday, but we were Jekyll and Hyde yesterday. I mean, Bolton were good, but we were a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. There was times when we were absolutely outstanding and times where it was really quite terrifying. It wasn't an easy watch. WG fans says, I've got my ticket for the Wrexham game on Easter Monday. Very excited to see it. Well, I would love us actually to be going into that game absolutely Bloomfield Road rocking. And I'll tell you why, because I'm saying, honestly, you've probably like us, you've watched Welcome to Wrexham, and they think they're so bloody loud and they're so amazing, don't they? They haven't, and you go to lots of grounds and It isn't very loud. Even in the Championship, it wasn't very loud. Sheffield United, it was like a morgue, honestly. It was really like a morgue. I was expecting it to be like so much louder. Sunderland wasn't loud. It was loud when they roared them on, if they were roaring them on, or if they were, screaming out for a handball, or if it was loud, but they didn't sing. They didn't sing songs all the way through like we do. There's not many places that just sing songs and the whole place is like bouncing. You only kind of see that on the ultra sort of things abroad, don't you? But in this country, it's all very, it's loud when they score. Nottingham Forest is like, it's like a bomb going off when a goal goes in, but they don't sing they don't sing songs. We do. And I just kind of love to shove it up Wrexham a bit and say, yeah, this is what it is, or, this is a proper club. So I hope we are playing well when we play them. Big Dog Walker. Hi, Daz. He says, as weekends go, that wasn't too shabby. Sun never stopped shining. Pool winning. Did the sun never stop shining? I didn't think it was that sunny yesterday. It was a bit rainy, wasn't it? The match started. Villa beat the Nobbers. Yes, up the road. Unless you mean just today, probably. Villa beat the Nobbers up the road before deciding to destroy any dreams they had of an upset. Yes, indeed. It was nice. It's nice for them to lose. Fletcher and Ennis, of course. And if you have a big dog, you need it. Walking, then Big Dog Walker. That's what he does. It does what it says on the tin. Connor Owen says, this might be my favourite collective group of Blackpool players in years. Every single one of them giving everything for this shirt. Never ever seen a striker with that much work effort like DJ Brett Ornrod. Andy Morel. God, they go on and on. But yes, you probably haven't seen, a striker like that. We have. He's got some big shoes to live up to with DJ Campbell and Brett Ormrod, but he does. I said it when we, to Pickle and Bestie when I first saw him, that he looked like he's a player that's from a league above, even like a Premier League sort of type of striker, isn't he? He's like he does things that you never expected. He's just really, really good. And that goal, oh my God, yesterday, I'm sure you can all talk about it forever. I'm talking about today with Jane, where it just like time stops, didn't it? And like Bloomfield Road just went silent, didn't it? And you saw the ball going up in the air and you're thinking, you even had you had so much time that like your life flashed between the eyes and you just saw Beasley, didn't you? You saw it going over and landing on top of the net. And it looked from our end that it was just going to land on top of the net. And we're all like, oh no, not Beasley again. And then it just and then you saw it bouncing in and you just saw the North go, and we went up with it as well. It was, God, you don't get many times like that. I mean, normally, you do a goal, just like had the goals in an instant, but that just took forever, didn't it? It just sailed in the air and bounced in. It was like things that dreams are made of, those sort of goals. Yeah, like Murphy. Yeah, we have had some good strikers down here at Bloomfield Road. But the younger ones, what I've seen, they've not lived the life that we've lived and seen the strikers that we have and fallen in love with, like Tony Ellis. I mean, I know he was a knobber, but, we loved him. He was arrogant and everything else. But Tony Ellis, for those that are young and watching this, he used to have this party trick where he'd pick the ball up just on the edge of the box, say, like if you're sitting in the south stand, the right hand side looking at it, his left hand side, and he would just turn an all in one movement, and he would just put it straight in the top, right hand bin. So if he's on the left, he put it in the top right. Sometimes he did it the other way as well, but it was just this way. He just picked the ball up with his back to goal and turned and just lashed one, and the times it went in the top corner was unbelievable. You just knew he was going to score. He was unbelievable, and he did that. He did it like so many times. It was just incredible. It was like his party trick. Stephen Ward says, nice to beat Bolton and see P&E out of another season of crap from them. Yeah, it was good to see them out. We're all joyful when Preston lose, but you can't give them too much because they got to the quarter final, you know what I mean? And we'd have loved to. I'd love to have a cup run and get to the quarter final, Even that would be good. So they've done well by sake to clinch teeth, they've had an easy run, haven't they? I mean, you know, it's easier to get to the quarter final when you're in the Championship than it is because obviously you've not got to go through as many rounds as we have to go through if we're going to get there. And same for the non-league. You know, if they get to a quarter final, how many rounds have they gone through? The Championship, you don't have to win too many, but the games they got, you know, were easy draws, weren't they? You know, winnable draws. They finally come up against a team that, well, apart from Burnley and Burnley, really, you know, they put a lot of kids out for some reason, didn't they? They didn't really play a full team, a bit like what they did to us with QPR in the flipping Championship, where they were winning the league, and then we beat QPR 6-something, and they lost to QPR because they put a lot of kids out, and that, you know, we'd have stayed up if they'd have not done that. So yeah, so they were lucky there. You know, they just played a lot of kids. Connor said, "Love the prayer reactions yesterday. Dressing room looks really, really close." Yeah, we're going to kind of get onto that in a minute. We may show that. James Wolf said, before I go, Ennis was onside, was he? He does look a bit offside, I've got to say. Who was keeping him on, or was it just perfectly timed? And he just was perfectly timed, because I can't tell from my... Big Dog Walker says Harry Tyra is getting better each game. That worldly save. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Bestie was so against... He was so angry that we let Grimshaw go. I wasn't, if I'm being honest, I've got to be honest. I always thought Grimshaw was a bit small and didn't get, he was a bit not tall enough for me. And I liked Harry Tyra, but then he was a bit worrying at the start, and he was punching, wasn't he? And it was all a bit flappy, and you were thinking, oh my God. And Bestie was laying into him all the time, but he's really shut him up, because he has pulled over the last few weeks. He's pulled off some great saves, and it's important if you're gonna make it, you need a keeper pulling them saves off, because I mean, as much as Fletcher and Ennis, won us the game, so did Harry Tyra, because the one where he saves it like with his biceps. I don't know how he got to it, and I don't know how it spun off his biceps and didn't go in. It was an incredible save. Pickle didn't like it because he didn't think it was technically correct. He should have got his hands to it, but I don't think he could. He just got down and it just hit him on his biceps. It was an amazing save. What's this from Connor? What are you saying? You love that part? Yeah, probably. I liked it as well with the players' reactions. I like all that behind the scenes stuff. I like it. I love it. Tyra as a keeper could get another loan spell from Everton, stay a bit longer. It would be great, wouldn't it? It would be great. We'd actually like to sign him, but there's not much chance, is there? Conor answers, every single player is performing, none are poor. Tyra, the standout improver this season. Maybe Fletcher, both are a credit to themselves. Would love Tyra to be here next season. Well, yeah, I'm starting to be in total agreement with you. The way he's playing, I wouldn't mind keeping him. And I think if we did actually get up, I think we might have a chance of keeping him in the Championship, because they'd like to test him out in the Championship, maybe as the next, step in. He's played in League Two and he's played in League One this year. I'm sure Everton have got plans for him to go to a Championship club, so could be with us. Would be great. He seems to love it here as well, doesn't he? He's having a great time. And Fletcher has just... He just won the fans over. I think he won the fans over when we all kind of got to realise that he's been having a hard, time with his life and his football life and everything else, and he was very down. And I think people stopped, they weren't being horrible to him, and I think there was a sort of like an empathy with him and a sympathy for him, and he's kind of repaid us, and he's repaid Steve Bruce, who had who said he had to sit down with him and talk with him and said, look, if you want to turn your life around and get yourself back on track, then, you're going to have to work doubly hard on the training ground and put all the work and effort into improving your game on the training ground, and the rewards will come, and they are. And now you can see he's just a player that is playing with so much confidence. He's just not the player that he was when he started off here. And teams are going to be looking at him. I've read that Bolton was saying, "Oh God, we need to sign Fletcher," and they wouldn't have nobody been saying that when we signed him. We've signed him on a 3-year deal, if I remember rightly, and I hope we have, because honestly, he is class. And that ball that he picked up in the first half, which was a clearance, wasn't he? Why is his name gone again? He went in again. But anyway, it's a clearance, and it's a kind of a miss-hit clearance, and it's coming really hard at him, and he just pulled it down so effortlessly, and then he, just sprayed it out to Apter, all in kind of one synchronistic move. It was just beautiful, and it just, I've been saying to Bestie that, because I watched his interview on Tangerine TV on the Friday night show, where he'd said that his strength, he believes his strength is his passing ability and his ability to pick a ball up and spray it around, and he likes that part of his game. It's like one of his favourite parts of his game. And Bessie was like, Fletcher, pass it around and all that, and even he was just stunned at what he saw. Yes, I know they haven't won anything since we won the FA Cup. In fact, they haven't won anything else either since we won the FA Cup. Yes, I get that. So the phrasing of what they said could have been done better, because they kind of basically said that it's not for everyone. Like, and as if like they've never had it. It's like a thing that they could only ever dream of winning an FA Cup. The post comes across and it looks as if like they're saying, we've won the FA Cup. It's a thing for us, but like not for you. But that wasn't the dig, was it? That wasn't the right dig. It was, it was something, I don't know. We've won, haven't we? We've won loads of things since 1953 in the FA Cup final. We haven't won an FA Cup final since 1953, but like I say, we've won the Anglo-Italian. We've won 6 playoff finals. We've been to 2 LDV finals. We've won the Lancashire Cup twice in all these years, and they have done they haven't won anything. So that the dig was there, wasn't it? But to say it's not, it's not for everyone kind of thing. It's not for you guys. Well, it's not true, is it? They may have won it even further back in time. And there'd be nobody alive to even talk about when Preston won. Maybe there might be somebody alive that saw it live, but you know what I mean? It's living on real past glories, but we're still living on past glories, but we have got a lot of more recent glories that they've never had, and we've been in the Premier League and they haven't. So the dig was wrong, and it's, they're getting it back in spades from Preston fans, and they're tarring Blackpool fans with the brush of the media team, and the media team are not Blackpool people. They're not all of them are from Blackpool. It's Ramos, isn't he? Does the best thing, but they're not Blackpool. They're not from Blackpool, and they don't know the history of Blackpool, and they're not dyed in the wool tangerine. They're just people doing a job, and it doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. Yeah, Premier League experience, absolutely. We are first in the league for form at the minute, so if we do make playoffs, I back us to win the whole thing. Well, that's the thing. This is what Blackpool do, isn't it? That's why we've won so many playoffs previously, because whenever we're in the playoffs, we're coming into them at the last minute, and as a racing horse, we always come into the playoffs in the best form that we've been in all season, and that kind of just flows with us. And some of these teams, just say for instance, if Wrexham don't make it, just say for instance they did just drop out into the playoffs, then they're devastated they're in the playoffs. Or if it was Wickham, they're devastated that they're in the playoffs. But Blackpool are like over the moon because we've snuck in, and that's the mentality you always have, haven't we? We always have going in. It wasn't that year when we lost to West Ham, because we almost could have done automatic. We were so good, we just missed out on automatic in that season, didn't we? Where with West Ham, and we didn't win. Yes, PNE won the FA Cup when Abraham. They did, and it's a long time ago, and it is a long time ago. But at the end of the day, they've won it. Do you know what I mean? And if you win the FA Cup, you get, your corner flags can be triangles, can't they? Or I can't which way around it is now. You can have just for being an FA Cup winner, and there's only so many smaller non-popular teams of today that have actually won the FA Cup. Kind of Wigan winning it took a bit of it away from me, when they won it, because to say you've won the FA Cup and Wigan have won the FA Cup as well, it just didn't sit right with me. I wasn't happy they won it. Paul Chris says, good evening, Lee. Hope you are more optimistic about next season after a good win yesterday. 5 points above the mighty Imps as well. Make sure you go to the Magna Carta pub next season for a pint. Okay. Big Dog Wog says also a great match day video with Pickle and George. It's better with Pickle and a vlogger than an ex-player. Yeah, well, yes, I agree with you. And only because when you get a former player, and I've kind of realised this as I've been doing it, is I don't have a relationship with the people, the former player. I don't know them. They don't know me. I can kind of get to know them a little bit in the interview, but they don't really know me. And so it's not as comfortable. And they've never done anything like it. They've never had a camera shoved in the face while they're watching a football match and been mic'd up and all the rest of it. And it's just not easy. And they maybe feel a bit under pressure that they've got to be this expert or something. But Bestie, Pickle and me have gone to football like you and your mates for years and years and years. We're going back to the 90s. You know, we've been going together. And there is just a natural banter between, you know, like you and your mates. You sat with your mates. It's just a banter. So what you're seeing when I'm with Pickle and Bestie is just how we are. You know, it's just how we are at football matches. So it's more natural. And because Pickle's now been doing it, you know, for quite a few weeks now, because I've just thrown it on him. I've said, look, you know, you're gonna have to do this, mate, because I haven't got a player and I don't want to just sit here on my own. And you're sat here, did you fancy doing it? And he was like, yeah, I'll have a go. So he had it, and the first few times he was a bit nervous, and then he got recognised. He got recognised somewhere. I can't think where he went in. So he went, you're Pickle, aren't you, off Lee Charles TV? And he was like, oh, and it kind of really gave him a nice surprise and a shock. And so since then, and he gets a lot of positive feedback. So he does read the comments and, you know, in on the videos, and people like him, and he is, you know, he is knowledgeable. He is good. It sometimes comes out with things, I think, I wish I had said that. so it's good to have him. Conor Owen says win, and I'm glad you're enjoying that more. I think it's more, and there's a little bit more behind the scenes and a bit of banter with it and everything, and I think it's just better. And as I said, I can't put match footage in, so you know, it is what it is. I can't put goals and highlights in. That's what you can't do. I mean, I do get the odds. I do catch the grass occasionally, and I do have a little bit of, you know, something with a lot of heads in the way. It's just really just to break up the monotony of the video, you know, to kind of show you're at a football ground. But I'm not really filming. I'm filming us really most, you know. I'm not trying to get goals. I'm not trying to get highlights. I'm not trying to get any of that because I can't put them in. So but anything like, you know, looking at Steve Bruce or someone, you know, saying something on the touchline, or getting the minutes coming up and that sort of thing, I do. But apart from that, you know, we're just talking to you and we're just taking you along with us to a match. Conor Rand says win 6 from the last 7, and I think that's enough for us to get in. So maybe Wrexham we can afford to lose, because I think we will beat Birmingham because their heads will be on holiday by then. Well, maybe, yeah. I would love us just to, if we could. I know it's a big dream, but I'd love us to just win all the last games. And we are capable, but football, you know, it throws. You know, you get referees, don't you? You know, we haven't had a really bad referee for a while now. They've been, you know, a bit iffy, and they have done a few things unusual, but we haven't had those really, really bad referees. But, you know, you never know. You can get a referee, you know, you just get a man sent off, and it can all just implode on you. So it is football, and we know that. There's no guarantees. Conor Rand says it'll be so tough to keep Albie Morgan in the summer. He has the most assists in the 92 in 2025, a different level, defo championship level. But we will say that quietly. Well, yeah, I'm sure he's been noticed. I'm sure he is. Luca talks football. Hello, Luca. Luca's a vlogger. He has a channel called, I think, Luca Talks Ball now. Probably is it? I think you've changed it. He's an Arsenal fan and also MK Dons fan. so yeah. Nice to hear from you, Luca. Hope everything's well. Conor Ann says, maybe League One is his level. Just look at Josie, for instance. He hasn't scored in 709 minutes for Hull, and they went and they want him out. 2.7 million. We had their pants down. Yeah, well, this is it. They leave, don't they? For doesn't always work out, and sometimes when you're having a burster and a field day and everything's going well, it's agents that talk them into it and turn their heads, and the money and the contracts and everything else, and you can understand it. But sometimes it's a lot happier place being at a place where you're happy than it is where the pressure's coming on and you're not scoring. And he was scoring with us, wasn't he? And even if he wasn't scoring, the Blackpool fans were not on his back because of his work effort, and we loved him. You know, at that time when he went, we were loving him, weren't we? So it's a shame if it doesn't work out for him. And we need to spend some of that Joseph money on Ennis and Tara. I don't think we'll have enough. I don't know. I don't think we'll have enough. But anyway, we always get new ones. We always get some. Bruce will know some players. I don't worry about it. I try not to fall too much in love with loan players because, you know what I mean. They go, don't they? So yes, I know. They also won the league when there was 12 teams in it. They call themselves the Invincibles, don't they? Because they went an entire season without being beaten, but they're like saying there was only 12 teams in the damn thing. Do you know what I mean? It's only like a perfect, it's not, it is what it is. They did win the league, but it was a time when the league had only just started and it was very early days and there wasn't many teams in it, and they wouldn't win it today, would they? But yeah, and the other one's 1938, which is probably what convinced Hitler to declare World War II. It could well be, but I don't think there'd be anybody alive now that saw that. Would there? How many years ago is that now? 30 would be 70 to 2008, 80 to 2018. So they'd be like 80. Ooh. Be like 88, would they now? But they'd have, but if they're 88, they'd be a baby. So you'd have to say, to remember it, that they'd have to be like 100. If anybody's 100 and went to that match, they might remember it as a 10-year-old. But no, it's a long time ago. I mean, not many people are around to remember 1953. Really, and the players are all gone, aren't they? My dad was there, but he's gone, and so those things. But the history, you can't take them away. If they've won the FA Cup twice, they've won the FA Cup twice. You can't say it's not for them, can you? Because it clearly was at one time. Lucas Fox Paul says, do you think Blackpool will go up? I always think Blackpool will go up. I never start any season ever thinking we're not going to go up. Even when we were in the Championship, the start of the first year back in the Championship, in my mind, I'm thinking we've just won at Wembley. The momentum could just take us into the playoffs. And if we get in the playoffs in the Championship, we could just, and we were close. We were close to getting into the playoffs at one time. It was just the two injuries to the two full backs that crippled us really. But and that losing that game at West Brom as well in the last kick of the game was hard. Ennis, master of cartwheels, indeed. Aren't they great? Ryan Dunbar says, I'm beginning to look like I'm right. Don't sing too much, but I've never really given up on it. I always think we've got a chance. I still do, and you could well be right, Ryan. But don't gloat about it. Don't crow about it until we've got a long way to go and we're not in it yet by any stretch of the imagination. Stephen Wood says, Lee, the same old P&A, win this every year and win nothing. Who are Premier League 2010, same old story every season, full of it. Yeah, they are full of it and they get on your nerves, and I just wish we'd have got the legacy that we were supposed to get out of the Premier League. Because I remember at that time when Blackpool got in the Premier League and Preston went down at the same time, I thought it would be a generation before they ever got anywhere near us because of all the money we were going to get and all the debt that they were in and all the rest of it. And I couldn't ever see them getting back above us. And it was so sad that the Oysters did what they did and let us go back down below them. And it just annoys me. Everything about them annoys me. It's like I said to Jane, it's like, we're watching Britain's Got Talent, and every time they're talking about about Blackpool, if people are like, they're doing some behind the scenes with people waiting, they go, oh, Blackpool's like the home of entertainment, and it's like, and they will sing, you know, we all hate Blackpool, we all hate Blackpool, we all hate Blackpool. Well, it's a bit like saying we all hate Farnham, we all hate, you know, amusement arcades, we all hate shows, and we all hate the pleasure beach, we all hate rides, and we all hate joy, and we all hate sun, and we all hate the sand. And I think it must be a really sad thing to sing that you hate something that's built on fun. You know what I mean? The Blackpool is built on fun. I know it gets its knockers and everything else, and you know, I hate Walk on the Wild Side, as you know. I can't stand him. He's the worst thing. He's the worst vlogger ever for Blackpool, because he just, you know, he films as much shit as he possibly can, and that's not a Blackpool person for me. I don't even know if he is from Blackpool, and if he is from Blackpool, he's a disgrace, because this is my hometown, and I love it in spite of all its, you know, its things and the things it does wrong, and the decisions the council make over stupid things, and they don't do the right things, which are the entertainment things, you know, the things that bring holiday makers in. But yeah, so I just think it must be awful to be, you know, to singing that you hate Blackpool, because it's very hard to hate fun, isn't it? Big Dog Walk says also Rotherham have potted old Fathead Evans today. They were favourites to go up before the season started. Yeah, well, I'm glad he's gone. I hope he never gets a job in football again, and I hope we never play one of his bloody teams ever again. Stephen has been watching the Wheel Tappers and Social Club. Have you? Good old Granada TV programme. Yeah, that was like a thing for comedians, wasn't it? If I remember right, the Wheel Tappers and was that? That was, yeah. There was a few things. There was Norman Collier, his microphone. That was probably back then. Big Dog Walks says P&E also won an award as officially the most boring team in football's 92 teams. My heart I mean, they are. They're just nothing, are they? They're just bland all the way through. Everything about them, the stadium's bland. I mean, it's bigger than ours, but it's bland, isn't it? Preston's just grey, isn't it? It's a grey town, city, is it now? It's just drab, isn't it? And the kit's drab. Everything about them is drab, and yet how they keep staying in the Championship, I never know, because they just keep racking up millions and millions and millions of pounds of debt, and obviously Trevor Hemmings used to, you know, shove the money in because he loved them, but his family, you know, from what I hear, don't have the exact same love for Preston as Trevor Hemmings did, but they have to keep shoving money in every year, and I don't know, it's just I don't know how they don't get in trouble really, but anyway, they're still going, aren't they? But you know, there's nothing like a derby game against Preston, is there? There's nothing. You know, even Bolton yesterday, it's not the same. Yes, it is Bolton, and yes, I want to win, but sometimes I actually start physically shaking when I'm watching Preston. I get so, like, I'm so wound up, and if we're winning, I'm hanging on. I actually get, like, literally my body starts shaking, like as if I'm like freezing cold, because I'm just so desperate to win. I didn't get to that stage with Bolton yesterday, really. Even though I really want to beat them, you know what I mean? Conor answers Steve Evans sacking couldn't have come at a worse time for us. Play them on Saturday and they will have a new match. Yeah, bloody hell. Yeah, but at least we don't have to play. He's a nightmare. We can't always beat his teams, can we? They've been out to play for two, maybe not. Paul Chris says Michael Appleton now at Shrewsbury. Sadly, they are relegated, I reckon. Surprised Gareth Ainsworth stood down. I'm rooting for Poole to beat Wrexham. Good Paul. Yes, and be sure to subscribe. If you've watched our video, I did a video with George BFC, and I was talking to him, and he's like, Jane, funnily enough, was the first person to meet George, and she met him because remember, she used to do the Jane's Away days. Remember, she met him at Rochdale game. There were two little kids, him and his mate Archie, and they were on the video, and they were just the two most lovely, young, you know, mad, passionate, crazy. They were like 9-year-olds at the time, or maybe 10, you know what I mean? But they were like mad Blackpool and all full of optimism and everything else. And so I've known him, like, since then. We've known him, and he's a big fan of what I do and everything. And he's a football, he's got his own channel now, and he's young and he's enthusiastic, and he was so excited because he's just got to 400 subscribers. You know, it's like a major milestone for him, and he was telling me about like how all these mates at school watch his channel and they're all dead jealous because he was on he was on Lee Charles TV, and he messaged me and said, is there any chance of me coming on again? Would you like me to come on again? Because I enjoyed it last time, and I immediately my mind just went, oh yeah, God, we won with George. He came. He was a lucky charm, wasn't he? So I thought, yeah, come on, let's we need to win this game. So come on. And he was good, wasn't he? But the scene at the start was really funny because I built him up as this, because they are, aren't they? These young lads, they're like total statos. They know everything, They know every player and every manager and every team and where they are and how many points and who the danger men are and all this. They do all this research. So I'm building him up as he's one of these young YouTubers that knows everything. And so I asked him like the first question about who's the most dangerous player and who's this lad. And I thought it was. I kind of like give him the sort of nod to it that this lad used to be at our academy and we let him go, because I was reading it all on View from the Tower about this lad that we've let go, and he's like such a good player for Bolton. He's looking like he's going to go for millions. And so it was a thread on View from the Tower. So I knew I'd read it, but he was like, no, he's always been at Bolton. And I said, I'm like, well, who's the manager now? I thought he's bound to know who it is. I wouldn't know. I did know it was Schumacher, but I wouldn't have, it wouldn't have come out of my head he was Schumacher. I couldn't think who it was. So I said, just who's the manager? And you could see him like pause, and it's not Ian Evatt anymore. It's just such a funny scene. And I went into Jay and I said, look, what do you think? Should I throw him under the bus here? Because I've built him up as this like great YouTuber, and he basically didn't know any of the answers to anything. And Jane just said to me, well, pop him a message and just like, showing the video. And so I just clipped the video and I sent it. I put it up on YouTube and I said, just watch that, and you're okay with that, because I don't want to like throw you under the bus. He was like, yeah, no, it's really funny. So he was all right with it, so I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have done something, but yeah, it was funny. It was a funny scene. It's a great scene. It's one of my favourite scenes I've done so far, to be honest. Yes, Big Dog Walker says, how bad was the ref and his decision not to give Sonny a penalty? I think it definitely was a penalty. I think you cannot say that guy did not just go into him, but he kind of made a bit of a meal of it. If he had the ability to have just like let the tackle like knock him over properly without him actually adding a little bit of drama to it. And I think the referee saw the drama because he kicks his leg out slightly to the left, done it to make it even more spectacular. Maybe the ref saw that and didn't see, but I still think it's a bit of Mr. Magoo if he didn't actually see the tackle come in, and it was a penalty. It was a penalty, and Fletcher, I was saying to Pickle and Bessie at the time that this could come back to haunt us here, because Fletcher should have scored with that shot he put past the post. It was if that had gone in, that would have been 2-1, and then Sonny's penalty would have been 3-1. We'd have been cruising, wouldn't we? And I said it's not going to be like bloody late in Orient again. We're going to miss chances, but then when we scored, oh my God, it was just delightful. Yes, Ennis again, ole ole, indeed. And it was one of those magical moments. I said it at the start of the thing where time stopped for a moment, didn't it? The whole ground just went silent as the ball soared, and you're all thinking, it's gonna hit the top of the net, it's another Beasley, it's going over, and then when it dropped in and it just bounced straight into the net, and you saw the North go up. It was just, it was amazing. Yes, we're going up. Maybe we are. Sometimes things are written in the stars. Conor Owen says, Joseph didn't want to go. Apparently his family persuaded him as he tripled his wages to 15 grand. Yeah, well, money's not everything. And Ash Fletcher would have probably told him about that, because he signed for 6 million from somewhere, didn't he? It was on probably massive wages. And was that when he went to Middlesbrough, I think, and it didn't work out. It's not worked out for him, and he's gone into a very dark place. And it could be the same for Joseph, where he was feeling great, he was scoring goals, he was feeling confident, and now the fans are getting on his back, and it all goes the other way, doesn't it? And it's I feel a bit sorry for him. Conor says it's hard not to fall in love with the likes of a Fire and Ennis. No, I totally agree. You just wish they were ours, don't you? A Fire in particular. But you'd have to be resigned to losing them anyway, because they're so good. You know, Afia is so good. He did some amazing things yesterday. You know, he does not let him get. There was one ball coming down the south where he was chasing back with a player, and he managed to get it off him and turn and get round. It was so good. He is a really strong player. I like him, and Ennis is just. I mean. If that doesn't do his confidence any good, you know, because he's just 2-2 now, Ennis, isn't he? But they've both been, you know, really good goals, haven't they? You know, both been great goals. The one that come in off the post, you know, away, and then that one that just dinked over, beautiful. Semi-Charlie says, yeah, there you are. If you enjoy seeing Blackpool win footy matches, then hit the bloody like button, indeed. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do. There is a little thing down there. Also, somebody mentioned on the last stream that they weren't getting notifications anymore on my videos. But to get the notifications, I meant to have it all written down. You have to hit the bell, the notification bell, but you have to also accept. There's like a second level where you got to have the bell, and then you're going to accept that you will get notifications, because they don't send out emails anymore unless you agree to it. And I looked at my analytics, and there's only 5% of people who are subscribed to this channel have clicked that notification bell and done that authorization for you to get a notification of my videos. So if you do that and you like the stuff, it saves me all the messing about I have to do, like doing a tweet and doing a this and that, so people know I've got a video on. If you just get notified automatically, that saves a lot of time for me. So if you are watching this and you are subscribed to the channel and you haven't clicked that notification bell, just make sure you do, and make sure you tick whatever the box is to agree to get the notifications, and then you won't miss anything if you like these sort of things. You know, if you like them, I like doing them, and I like doing them with you lot. Post in the comments, because it makes it easy, you know, to have a show if I talk to you. Big Dog Walk says, Reading game on Tuesday, hoping for a good gate and continuation of the atmosphere. It's got to be, hasn't it? I've said it so many times, we are the 12th man at Blackpool. And when we are loud and we are noisy, we can, and it's not like a dream, and it's not something that I'm making up, we lift the team up to do things beyond their capabilities. And we've done it with numerous clubs, with numerous times, numerous teams over the years that have excelled and won things and have played beyond the sum of the parts, because the noise from the Blackpool fans is phenomenal. And you know, I noticed it so much in the Championship. I noticed it more than I'd ever noticed it before when we got in the Championship, because I couldn't believe how quiet everywhere was where we went. I couldn't believe, like Fulham, couldn't hear them, you know. Bristol City, they had like a loud corner. So there was a corner where it all wrapped round. There was a corner, and that corner was loud. Did sing some songs. Yes, they did sing some songs. Not all the way through the game, and not like we do. It goes on and on and on and on. You know, if you remember the Best Trip song, just used to go on for, you could sing it for half an hour. You know, even though, you know, we got the Oysters Out, and that used to go on. I remember when we were at Accrington Stanley for that one, wasn't it? When we first sang it, and you could hear the song coming, because it was our first game back away, and I was there, with Seb and Alex, and we were there, and you could hear this, and I was saying, what is that song? And they were singing it. It was going over and round and round, and it was kind of getting close, because it was started at the far side, and you could hear it, and people were picking up the lyrics. And then by the time we'd sang it, the whole of the second half, Blackpool sang it. Oh, we got the oysters out like we. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So obviously, when homecoming day came about, we were full bang on. The whole stadium was singing it, and that kind of grew on that day as well. But yeah, you go to grounds, and there's just Hull City have a section that sing, which are like quite like to your left, and they are quite noisy there. But the rest of the place doesn't sing. And then you go to Reading, and they've got like some fans in the same end as you, like with a separation, and they sing there. You know, they do sing there, but the rest of it doesn't sing. You know, there's nothing. Sheffield United didn't have any, didn't have anybody singing, just nothing at all. So it was like such a shock to me because I was expecting it to be so loud. And yeah, we as Blackpool fans, we've got to be there. We've got to be there on Tuesday night. We've got to do it again. You know, it's up to us if we want it. You know, if we want it, if we want to get out of this division and we want to do it, we've got to give it our best shot. I mean, obviously, if we lose and we lose the next few, then it doesn't matter. Then you don't have to go. But while there's a chance, you've got to be behind them because we can make this team win. You know, and they respond to it, don't they? They were fighting for their lives yesterday, and it was Blackpool fans cheering them on and just singing and just it must be awesome as a player really to just feel that. To feel that buzz. And I know I always say that we, fans got Blackpool up through every playoff final that we've won. I feel it was down to the people around me making lots of noise and me and just, believing and just giving them everything we've got. So, yeah, we've got to be there. Same team on Tuesday night, or does Bruce start Baggett? Now, somebody on George's channel, because I went over there to have a look at his video, and somebody put like Lee clueless. He put I tell you, people just, it doesn't even bother me anymore. You know what I mean? There's so much abuse you get doing this and people knocking you, but that most people enjoy it. But yeah, it's like Lee clueless as usual. Baggett's injured, but is he injured? I've not read anywhere he was injured. I want to know when he was injured. So. Because I was saying on George's video that I couldn't believe that he changed the team, because he changed the team from the losing team of Leyton Orient, and I did say to the lads that this is a time now where he's lost his game. He needs to sort his defence out, because I thought if Baggett had been in against Leyton Orient, I don't think they'd have scored that header. A free header in the middle of the box, I don't think they'd have got it, because he'd have been there and he's big and he'd have got to the head. And I think it was the same mistake again against Bolton. It was the same thing. Fortunately, we didn't lose it, but the guy just gets a free header right in the middle, doesn't he? Literally on the 6-yard spot he is to get that header. And I think if Baggett had been in the defence, he wouldn't have scored that goal yesterday. And I was saying I couldn't understand why he changed the defence from the Leyton Orient game, put Baggett in, and we had a clean sheet away from home, and we never looked in our defence never looked in danger at all in that game. I watched the whole game, watched it on Tangerine TV, watched it all the way through, and we never really looked troubled. And in the second half, not at all. They never troubled us at all. And that's because Baggett is absolute class. He's the biggest defender we've got. He's the tallest defender we've got. He can play with his feet. He's good in the air. And he drops him, and I thought, why put him in and get a clean sheet? And that's what I was saying. But then somebody's like, oh, Lee's clueless, he's injured. But so is he injured? I don't know. Ryan Dunbar says if we beat Reading next week, I'm believing. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I kind of could have said the same thing about beating Bolton. Really, that I'd be believing, and we did. Boom, boom, boom. Says Callum. WG fan says, I hope Tuesday's game doesn't look like last season's final match. Yeah, so do I. You disagree about Steve? I think Stevie's great for Blackpool. He does show some positives, yes, but he shows a lot of shit, Ryan, honestly. God, what? Whorehouses down, Queens. No, I don't like him. Sorry, I don't like him. Not at all. He's just not my cup of tea. Don't like him. And I don't even know who the other ones are. I don't know who Wendell is. And then the Master, no, I don't know them. Bamber and Garner, Priest and Ellis, Ormrodder, Murphy, Yates and Medine. It's all about Fletcher and Ellis till the end of the season. Believe up the mighty pool. Indeed, yes, we've had some great strikers, but yeah, you've just got to love the ones that are here, and it does make you love them when they score goals like that. Tommy97 said, I love Fletcher, and Ennis celebration at the minute shows they are passionate about this club. We need to buy Ennis this summer. I don't know if we can afford him. I don't know if we can afford his rating. Yes, however, when it comes to dark tourism, I hate that too, indeed. I hate anybody that knocks it. Honestly, if I was just if I'd have chosen, and sometimes I kind of wish I'd chosen, because during lockdown, Jane and I did like some walkarounds in lockdown, and there's some of, there were some of our best videos, both over 12,000, just walking in lockdown, and I could have done so many better videos than the people who do. There's a woman who's, I don't know, Visit Falcoast or something. She's from Barnsley or something. She doesn't know anything about Blackpool. She's moved here and she walks around. She likes it, but she's got a Yorkshire accent when she's talking. She's not Blackpool. I'm second generation. Honestly, I love Blackpool. I love it. Hate it sometimes because they don't do with it what could be done. I've said that lots of times, but if I was just doing Blackpool vlogs, you wouldn't get anything like that. I would just do it would just be showing Blackpool in a positive light, just like Britain's Got Talent are doing. Britain's Got Talent are showing Blackpool all over the world. It's the best thing that we've done. I don't know how the council have managed to get every single blooming audition at the Winter Gardens, but man, it's a massive thing for Blackpool. It's bigger if they can keep this, just like the darts. If Britain's Got Talent falls in love with the Winter Gardens, and they've got all the space now, there's nowhere like the Winter Gardens in the UK. There's theatres, yes, there's theatres, but they don't have the complex that the Winter Gardens is, with all the conference facilities and all the other facilities in the same building with the ballroom and everything else. It's just massive. So they can do the show there dead easy, So if they do stay at Blackpool, that Britain's Got Talent is watched all over the world, and it's Blackpool being watched all over the world, and it's just as good as when Blackpool were in the Premier League and they were showing Blackpool all the time. Every time they came to Blackpool for a game, they were showing the tower and the illuminations, donkey rides and all the rest of it. And just, Kiss Me Quick Outs, ice creams, sand, beach, donkeys, all of it. It's all lovely, It's all lovely. And for those of you that do watch Welcome to Wrexham, if you watch it and you watch it with a critical eye, you can see that they really have nowhere to film that looks good. None of it. Other than and even the football stadium doesn't look good at the moment. It's in development, isn't it? But at the end of the day, there's nowhere in Wrexham like there is in Blackpool, and you cannot make that. You cannot make that Golden Mile. You cannot make that tower. You cannot make you can't make the theatres and the Pleasure Beach and the Golden Mile and all of it. The piers. You can't make it. It's there, and it's beautiful. It is bloody beautiful. Yes, indeed. He did want to call. Well, it was a derby to him. It's a derby to him. But it's not a derby, is it? It's bloody Fleetwood, non-league. They come from non-league with a bloody owner that pumped millions in, and he did it all at a time when and he had his heyday because we were boycotting as Blackpool fans. We weren't going. So these teams like Fylde and Fleetwood, they had their biggest success when Blackpool fans were not going to games. So they would pick up Blackpool fans who didn't want to go and support the Oysters, but want to see some football. So, they swell the crowds and everything with Blackpool fans. But obviously once the Oysters went, then their dream of what they were going to be has just died. They can't get there because they can't get the support, because they're not going to steal Blackpool fans back off Blackpool, because if you're Blackpool, you're Blackpool, aren't you? Yes, I wasn't having it. The tram stop derby, indeed. Conor Owen says, we need a new PA system badly. It's so poor. P&E's today was unreal, having songs on before the game, but I really wish we could have more flags around the ground like we had at the homecoming. Yeah, well, everywhere you go, the PA system's fine. The PA system's better than ours. I can't understand, honestly, for the life of me, I can't understand why they put up with it. As like a YouTuber and a videographer, that I know that sound is so important. Sound is more important. The sound that you're getting now off me with the stuff that I've bought here to make sure that you get a really crystal clear sound is important, because it doesn't matter how much I spend on the background, if you can't hear what I'm saying and it's all a bit cutting out and everything else, it's a nightmare. And when things go wrong with me on sound, I'm so stressed out about it. And even the media team at Blackpool, they used to get the sound terrible. I mean, they have improved. I think probably because they saw what I was doing with all the non-league interviews with managers. And, you know, if you mic somebody up properly, you put a little mic on them and, you know, it's there. It gets rid of all. So you'd have like, I remember you used to get like, every time Critch, they used to interview Critch and there'd be like a tractor, you know, there'd be the guy mowing the lawn behind her. And you couldn't, and that was just like really loud. And the next time it'd be like seagulls, and he'd be like trying to talk. But they've got rid of all that and they do, you know, a better job. But they know, you know, the media team know that they had to up the game on the sound. You have to. You really, really have to. And it's the same, you know, there's been loads of threads on A View from the Tower over the years that said, you know, what music should we come out to? What, you know, what music would really inspire the team to come out to? And you could pick the most motivational music ever heard, you know, gladiator style, whatever it is to bring them out to, but play it on that PA and it's just like playing it through a tin can. It won't inspire anybody. You know, you go to Wembley, don't you? And those big fire things go, and the sound's like, whoa, and it's like in your ears. It's just like phenomenal. And it's like a pop concert. And you're thinking, wow, you know, it just, that elevates everything. Our PA system is just dog shit, isn't it? It's terrible. It's really terrible. Yeah, we do need that sorting out. Yes, I will show them. I've been talking too much. Should we have a look at Steve Bruce's interview? Let's do that. Well said. Let's put it on. Let me go over there. This is on X, obviously. Here we go.
Steve, your side dug so deep there. Thoughts on that performance today?
Well, they certainly had to dig deep against a really hard fought, typical bit of a derby, bit of edge to it. Great. I think it was a great spectacle for the First Division. I really do. It was end to end, both teams fully committed. And thankfully we've come out on top.
We'll go into both goals in a second, but just talk about the character and belief that seems to be.
Yeah, we had a tough 15 minutes just after they scored down the left-hand side. We didn't sort that out well enough. We needed half-time really to rejigger one or two things, and that helped us. But yeah, delighted with the attitude of the players, the way they've dug in to get a result. Was good to see.
The front two will grab the headlines again on what a finish from
Well,
Niall.
absolutely, what a fill from Niall. You know, he's been a terrific acquisition since he's walked through the door. A goal scorer. And when you can finish like that, you know, when you look at all the chances what we had a couple of weeks ago, that one, what he's had today, was a great finish.
And just talking about Ash Fletcher as well, his hold-up play in particular.
Oh, really well, there's the story in itself with Fletcher. I'm so pleased for him. All of a sudden, he looks a real player again, and why he moved for big fees during his career. He's got that little bit of confidence, a little bit of mojo back. Wherever he's got, all of a sudden again he looks a player, which I'm very, very pleased about.
Do you think we're seeing the best of him at the minute?
Well, the two of them are a handful. Where there's not many players the way we do. We're two up top, two wide players. So we know we've got to improve defensively. That's been, you know, the Achilles heel of us. But at the top end of the pitch, we are very, very decent, and we're a threat from wide area. Two centre forwards. Sonny can score a goal. Albie can score a goal. So, yeah, just got to stop that defence. We've got to be defensively a bit better, but we'll get in there.
And you talk about big moments in big games. What I say from Harry Tyro just after 2-1 as well.
Well, then again, the difference in Harry between where he was when he first came in to what he is now. You know, he looks a confident, really, really good young goalkeeper, and fair play to him as well.
And just a word on the supporters.
Oh, well, you know, I've heard about this Blackpool Roar, and at last we've given them something to shout about, and they played a big part in it. The atmosphere on the ground was terrific. Something at 12,000, wasn't it? Something like that, which is a great return. So, yeah, have a few beers tonight and get ready for Tuesday. And well done them.
You touch on Tuesday, no let up with that just round the
corner. No, round the corner. Reading, who've done fantastically well with all the problems they've got. Well done to them. Going to be a big test again, you know. They're a couple of points in front of us, so can we see what we can do again?
Well, there we go. There we are. Thanks for reminding me. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, that's Steve Bruce there talking after the game, and that's on X. You can all watch that on X. It's yeah, he says a lot of good things, doesn't he? He's interesting to listen to. He is right. We are playing with two strikers, and we're playing with a big man, little man, which you don't see, and we all love. And we're playing with wingers, and he is right that the defence is a little bit iffy. But Steve, if you're watching, you went away last week, and your defence were bloody marvellous, Steve. They were, honestly, they were fantastic, and you had Baggett in. So why did you drop him unless he's injured? So please let me know if he's injured, because I've been called a bit of a clown on George's channel for saying that I wasn't happy that Baggett was dropped. You say I don't know anything. Well, typical Lee Charles doesn't know anything because he's injured, but I haven't seen anywhere where it says he's injured. So Michelle asks, sometimes YouTube doesn't actually notify me properly. Well, you may have to check. There is a setting. Just check your settings on that, because I don't know. There should be a button or something you have to click to make sure now that it does send you them all the time. So just check. I'll try and make sure I know for next time, and then I can advise you properly. It's like half a story, Lee, in it. Yeah. I know they're great. I have got more to show. There's just too many in the comments. Reading needs, and I'm talking, Reading needs to be absolutely, I'm talking too much. Reading needs to be absolutely rocking more than Bolton. We can suck that ball into the net. Yes, we can. George BFC, Harley, it was a pleasure to appear once again on your channel. We can certainly make the playoffs. Lee, it was a pleasure to have you on. I've already told you need to get past me. You need to get to 100,000 subscribers, then you can drag me along with you. We were talking about that before the game, about how I miss having anybody with any sort of thousands of followers that gives me a bump. Like if Thogden was a Blackpool fan, say for instance, with his 1.5 million, it'd be so much easier to get up there. But it's one of the things where I don't get any kick off anybody. Semi-channel, George BSC, well in lad, good to see you on the channel, and he's sub to you, George. So there you are. You picked up one. Conor says, love seeing Big Bertha back up yesterday. My friend was the one who started to get her out. Took them weeks to set it up. Great to see. Yes, indeed. It lifted the whole ground in it. And, and Steve Bruce, mentioned it, didn't he? He said he'd heard about it. He'd heard about how good it is. That's all he'd done. He'd not seen it, had he himself? He'd only heard about how good we were. And it's a shame that he hasn't got to, he hasn't seen as we are, is it? It's just a shame, really. Let me see if I can get another video up here while I'm doing these things. Yes, is this? I think this is Ennis's goal. Let me just spam that there. I don't know what's. I'll put it on anyway. I'm not quite sure if it can't, because it's. Oh, this is maybe the first. Yeah, this is the first goal, the Fletcher goal. Again, from these great angles that they do, that I now know it's Ramos does. So here we go. Yeah, so there you are. So you see, Steve hadn't experienced that. He'd been told about it, but he hadn't experienced it. And I think that's kind of sad that he hasn't, he's had to hear about it but never seen it. But you could see he was pretty impressed, because it is impressive. There's nothing like us. Michael Haig is here. Good evening, Michael. In the box of toys we trust. Nice to hear from you. Oh, Baggett got injured at training. He had to make the change. Right, okay. So they were right, but I didn't hear anything about that, so I didn't know. He is injured. Right, okay. Ollie says, if you beat Reading, I'm going to Rotherham. This is it, you see, isn't it? It's all of a sudden they're winning and things, you start to want to go, don't you? You don't want to miss the party. If you want to watch a guy that loves Blackpool and is Sangro, watch It's Not Your Boy Leroy or Chris Higgett, right? I don't know them. I'll check them out. Ennis has a year left on his contract and is on 14 grand a week. Yeah, so, he's bound to be on a lot more money in the Championship, isn't he? And I don't think Blackpool, seriously are going to be able to afford £14,000 a week. We may be able to, they may loan him to us for another season and pay off his wages or something. That would be okay. Callum's on the lash. Good on you. WG fan says, now you've reminded the Blackpool Promenade, have you heard any news on the upcoming Wendy's about it opening? On the upcoming Wendy's? About its opening? No, I haven't heard anything about that. The Las Vegas of the North, yes, indeed. I mean, there's been a feature, hasn't there, in the papers about Blackpool and, and how it's going to be doing all these things. And they were... I can't think which paper it was in. It was something. It was an article I was reading about Blackpool regenerating itself and all this money that's coming, and they were praising the council for Bickerstaff Square and the trams up North Station and the college coming, but none of that for me is Blackpool. It's just council offices. It's just a little bit of an extension of the trams or Talbot Road, which won't make any difference or anything. It doesn't. It's a nothing. The college will, if we get a university, that will bring a lot of stuff in, but it won't bring in tourists, and it's not fun things. There'll be more people here, more people to spend money, more kids living in digs and student accommodation and all that sort of stuff. But for me, the things that bring people into places like Blackpool is a big, massive concert arena, more investment. I know the Pleasure Beach once upon a time wanted to build out into the sea and take it over there and make it bigger. I know that was all a dream, but that was one of the dreams they had. I see that place in Abu Dhabi, like I said, the indoor, the Warner Brothers Hotel with a Warner Brothers theme park behind it, which is indoors. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? A racetrack. I've said that all along. If we had the Blackpool Gold Cup, how much business racetracks bring into a town. Unbelievable. They can all stay over in hotels. The airport should go international so people can fly in and fly out and fly all over the world. There's so much potential here. There really is. And there's so much potential for somebody who builds hotels and got billions to actually transform Blackpool. But the hotels have got to be really fantastic, so with swimming pools and all the rest of it, like if you go to Dubai, we need hotels like that where people come and it's just beautiful, you know what I mean? And with all the millions of people that do come here every year, I can't believe that somebody, we have like the company that owns the Grand and the company that own the Metropole and the Norbert Castle, and they're all just run on a shoestring and run into the ground, and it's not what we want here, really. No, Big Dog Walker says, I still can't believe how well Wickham are doing for such a small fan base. No, it's quite amazing, isn't it? They're punching above the weight. I don't know, but it needs to change drastically, doesn't it? It doesn't, you don't have to, I went to Derby and they've got like line arrays. I think they've got like about 24 line arrays all the way around the stadium. What a line array is, where it's like, at concerts where it's like, top 3 speakers will be like the tweeters, and then the next 4 speakers will be like the mid-range, and then the thing that curls around the bottom, they're all the bass units, so it kind of covers all the different angles and everything else, and they're called a line array, and you get them at like, the big massive concert arenas, but they've got them at Derby's Pride Park. All their speakers are line arrays, and we've got, like the old megaphone. it's like a megaphone thing, isn't it? And they don't have any bass at all. There's no bass or thump to it. It's just wah, 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 wah. And I know Tony Parr gets loads of stick about, he's terrible on the microphone, but I don't care. You could have like you could have Arnold Schwarzenegger talking in that microphone and it'd still be wah, 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 wah. It's just terrible. It's just a terrible sound system. It's just awful. And it needs to be sorted. Semi-Charles says, so you're saying that it is open right now. That's awesome. Might head there next time I'm in town. What's open right now? Have I missed that? Exactly what Bruce said. Get out Tuesday again. Need the place bouncing more than side. He sucked the ball into the net. Yes, yes, yes. Michael Ellis said, Bruce is such a breath of fresh air quality in a coach. Yes, he is. And when he's talking, he's not talking. I had to turn Critch off in the end. I couldn't even watch his interviews because it was just so full of shit. Everything he said was just like, what? I'm thinking, what game are you at, pal? Because, we're a bit unlucky. We had all this possession and, we had this and that and the other. I'm thinking, you've watched a match. We've had like one shot, pal. And you're thinking we should have won it. We've had like 70% possession or something, passing it around the back. It was just like, I was like, what? What football are you watching, pal? Because this is terrible. But Bruce says it, doesn't he? He says in the interview, we're not so good at defending. We need to sort it out. He can see it. He's not daft, is he? But he doesn't he doesn't start saying, well, we're unlucky. He just says, no, we need to get better at our defending because it's our Achilles heel. And he says it straight as a die. And that's what everyone likes about him. Conor Rouse says, Dobby attackers, Keogh defenders, Agnew midfielders, and Bruce looking over it all. The dream squad. Well, yeah, if it is good. Well, Keogh needs to up his game then, doesn't he? Because Keogh's a good bloody defender. He's a great centre-half. He was a centre-half with not a lot of pace, but he was good at like organising it all, wasn't he? He was like an organiser. And he was great. We loved him, didn't we? James Toxic Game says, NS again. Yes, it's on the thumbnail. NS again. Ole, ole. What a great goal. And yes, he does a proper backflip too. Yeah, it was pretty impressive, wasn't it, actually? Liam JS says, Blackpool and Newcastle are my two teams. Did you see the parade yesterday? It was amazing. Which parade was that, Liam? We'd be at a football match yesterday, so I'm not quite sure which parade you're referring to. But I didn't see a parade anyway. But James says, yes, what a backflip. Yes, indeed it was. Hopefully your Bolton video will do well. Should do. It's a brilliant video, and there is a lot of Bolton fans. Well, probably not, because they lost. If they'd have won, they'd have been all over it like a rash, giving me shit. Well, because they've lost, they can't really say anything, can they? You can't. You tend to find that in the big games, if you get beat, they do watch it because they want to see it from their side. But with my videos, you can't even see it from can't even see their goals from my point of view because I'm not allowed to film them. So. What do you mean when Bolton scored the offside? They didn't score. It wasn't. They didn't score. It didn't go in. It hit the side netting. It was never in. It might look from some side that it were in, but it was never in. It just hit the side netting and didn't go in. It looked like it were in, but it wasn't in. I know I've read on A View from the Tower that Chizzy and the commentator were discussing for quite a few minutes about why it was disallowed, and they were still convinced that it got, even that the guys doing the commentary were convinced it was in, but it was never in. It just hit the side netting, but it looked in. Fancy Rotherham? What, going to Rotherham? I hate going to Rotherham. It's horrible. It's a horrible place, honestly. It's not a place for a football vlogger because they don't. They come over and really the stewards are just like total jobs with us. It's horrible. In Bruce we trust. Come on, you pools, says Big Dog Walker. Conor Rouse says Rose was apparently on 15 grand a week, so because we've got rid of him, maybe we will have space for Ennis. Maybe we will. That's if he was on 15 grand a week. I don't know if he was. Oh, Wendy's are going to take over the former Viva Vegas Diner. Oh, right. Okay. Well, yeah, that'd be good. They're like big in America, aren't they? Wendy burgers and stuff. So, yeah. Well, it's all good. I know there's going to be more. I know there's going to be more hotels. I know that. And there needs to be. But the people that were building all these hotels have gone bang, haven't they? The whole thing, the whole amusement sort of theme park thing they were going to do around the police precinct. It's taken so long for them to actually get on with it. The company's gone bang. It's not going to be built at all. So they could also do with bringing the railway, further into town. That south maybe in further as well. Because that used to be the best railway station. Did used to be the best, Rosie. Yeah, I know. I can't even comment on that. It's just like, don't even get me started on that. I don't know what we're doing. Full stop. And I don't think, hotels, a holiday resort that relies on tourism does not want to be filled with that. It wants to be filled with tourists coming here to spend money, and the only people that are making money out of that are the people that own the hotels, who are probably not even from Blackpool at the end of the day, and the money just goes straight out. You need the people coming into Blackpool who are spending money to come into Blackpool, and that's what should be in the hotels. We're a holiday resort. We're not a place to house people, and just it's not the right fit, is it? I could moan all the time about Blackpool Council and what the councils did with their B&Bs, where they wanted to fill and they couldn't fill the B&Bs, so they started, they were getting kickbacks for putting drug addicts in and all this sort. So we just imported a load of like naff into the town. Why? Just why? If you wanted to fill your hotels, you need to build things that bring people in, that make people stay in your hotels. So the hotels get full with tourists because you've got things that attract people in. To me, that seems like a no-brainer, but I don't know. I don't think bringing drug addicts in from out of town and all that is the future for Blackpool. I just don't think it is. I think our USP is what we are. We're a place built on fun, and because of that, it still does okay, you know what I mean? But we live on all the things that the Victorians built. We still live on them now. They still come to the Blackpool Tower Circus. They still come to see the shows at the Winter Gardens, at the Grand Theatre. They still come to the piers. They still go on the pleasure beach. They still, all these things were built long, long time ago. So you're almost hoping we lose with your YouTube hat on. What's that mean? He's almost hoping we lose. Rose was on $8,000 a week, was he? Rhodes, $8,000 a week, right? Okay. Connor Rowan says, hope our media team release a video to get some motivation for Tuesday. Any help to get more fans in? Well, I'm doing my best. Share this video with your friends. I want you all to come. I want Bloomfield Road to be rocking on Tuesday night. I always, tell the story about, the playoff final with Oldham when Dad and I were coming out. We're on the North Stand then, obviously, because, there wasn't a South at that time for that playoff final. And we were coming out, and there were some Sky TV guys who were, like, doing cables down the side. And my dad just saw them and got talking to him. And, they were like the sound guys, and they said, and this was, remember, we only had like half, didn't we? We only had like 2 stands, and they just said to my dad that we've been like, honestly, we cannot believe what we've heard here today. They said we've been to like every Premier League game doing all the Sky things, and we've come here and we've never heard any noise like this, and we can't get our head round how loud this is, because we've never heard anything like it. It's like absolutely deafening. And it was for that playoff final against Oldham. Oh my God. When Andy Morrell scored and Keegan Parker scored, God, it was like, oh God, it was literally, when it's like bursting your eardrums and your ears are ringing, it was that loud. Michael A says, we are loud and proud to be a Sangharoli, and you, the video master maker. Thank you very much, Michael. I do appreciate that. I do my best. I try and make them as good as I can. I just want you to enjoy. I just want to share joy with people, and I want people to see what it's like. It annoys me that Wrexham are getting all this attention from America, and I don't think Wrexham are a patch on Blackpool. I don't think Wrexham as a place is a patch on Blackpool. I don't think its history is a patch on Blackpool. It's not even English. It's Welsh. You know what I mean? They have their own league. And they're in ours. And and I like Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, and I like what they do, but I just think, my God, if they'd have come here, they'd have had a lot, would have just been a better show. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh no, I don't want us to lose to get the views. I'm just pointing out the reality. The fact is that you're saying that this Bolton video is going to get lots of views because Bolton fans will watch it, and I am assuring you it won't, because Bolton fans will not watch it. you know they won't, because why would you? They've lost. Blackpool fans don't watch a video when we lose. Nobody wants to watch a video watching the other teams celebrating. You want to, the big views that come from an away following is when they win. But I'm not bothered. I'm a long time in doing this, and I know that this is never, ever, ever going to make any money because I'm following Blackpool. Like, it's the worst thing I could have possibly ever done, but it's my hobby. And it's a loss making hobby. It cost me money all the time. I think there was somebody came on the stream last night and said, "Oh, you're up to 8,000 subscribers. You must be making a fortune by now." And I'm thinking, I've got a Rodecaster Pro here that the sound is coming out of. It's 550 quid. I've got a MacBook here, which is like $2,000. I've got I'm showing it on a YOLO Box Pro, which cost me 1,100 quid. I've got a £500 light. I've got 3 Macs behind me there worth £2,000. I've got a microphone, which is 250 quid. I've got a cable in. I've got headphones. All this. I haven't, that's all this just cost me, but it's my hobby. If I was playing golf, I'd be buying some new golf clubs and I'd be paying a membership at a golf club. It doesn't matter. I don't do it for money. I do it for the love. I do it because I'm Blackpool, I'm like a stick of rock. If you cut my head off, I'd say Blackpool inside and on the way around. And, I bleed tangerine. I just love my hometown, and I love my hometown team, and I like to share it with you guys. And that's it. Never make any money. Connor answers 8 vlogs were made for Bolton versus Blackpool yesterday, and yours was the best. Credit to yourself. Lee, they are better than anybody else's because everybody else is trying to get the video on as quick as they possibly can with as little amount of editing as you can and just get it up and on and get it in, fast to get views and all the rest of it. Whereas I am obsessed with video editing, and video editing is hard work. And if you ever saw the timeline and the cuts and the things that I do to make it to make the video flow, and I have to find kind of find it, and then I record other scenes on my other camera, and I've got to kind of find where they are, and it's a hell of a job. And every other YouTube video that you've probably watched is up to they probably got it on by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I got mine on at 2:45 in the morning because I was doing so much editing to get it right, to get it right for you. And that I don't have if I really had the time, I'd like to spend a week getting it ready, but there's no point because we're playing Reading on Tuesday. I have to get it up for Sunday, but nobody else in the world would do all that. Would do like 8 hours of work editing to make £7. You know what I mean? It's tough. Connor Ross says, "Oh wow, I didn't even see how close you are." Well done being stuck on. I've been stuck on 7,000, Connor, for 2 years. Since we came down from the championship, it's nearly 2 years of being on. So I'm nowhere. I'll never get to 8,000. It's never going to happen. It goes up by 3 and goes back by 5 and up by 6, and it's never going to happen. So I've given up on the 8,000, but it doesn't matter. I enjoy doing these, don't I? I just enjoy. I don't think I have. According to my stats, I've lost 3 in the last 28 days or something. I've gone down 3. I was on 7,852 at one time. I'm back down to 7,849 or something, but I can't get there. I've given up. Charles is tangerine. He hates Bolton. We all hate Bolton, don't we? We all hate Bolton. So you can sing that, can't you? We all hate Bolton. We all hate Preston. We all hate Burnley. I can say that. They're not great places, but we all hate Blackpool. Doesn't work. It doesn't work a thing. Well, yeah, we all appreciate your work, Lee. And what's the camera you vlog the games called? Well, here you are, you see. Not happy. I used to film them on the Sony ZV-1. I have two like vlogging cameras. One is the Sony RX100 V7. I don't want to get too much into like flipping camera talk with you because it's boring, but the RX100 V7 has like a 200mm zoom. So when you see me film, like get close towards Steve Bruce and everything, that's on my RX100 V7, and that zooms in, so I can get right to the other end of the pitch, not digitally zoomed. That's on a lens zoom, so that's as good as a bloody guy with a big massive 200mm camera lens, right? That's just a little vlogging camera. But the boys bought me for Christmas because I wanted it. I got the Osmo Action 5 Pro, which is an action camera. Yeah, but it's a good one. It's not got a 1-inch sensor like my ZV-1 has a 1-inch. It's a little bit smaller, but it's still a decent camera. But I wasn't happy with it because it was looking not like my ZV-1. It wasn't looking cinematic. It was looking like I was filming on an iPhone. I didn't like it. So I bought, because I'm obsessed with these things and they piss me off. And I'm thinking, I don't like the colours. I don't like the way this is looking. I don't like the over sharpened looking, like anything about it. So I bought a set of ND filters. They're like a little, they're like a little glass thing. I've got them. Just one sec. Yeah, so here, I'll show you. These are in this little bag, an ND filter. It's like that. Can you see that? And that is like that's like sunglasses for your lens. So on a very sunny day, it's like putting sunglasses in. But what that enables you to do, and I had that one on yesterday because it wasn't that sunny, but that was what's called an ND. It's called an ND8. An ND8, and I've got an ND16, and I've got an ND32. So there you can see, I've put little stickers on, so I know which one's which in that little bag. So on a very sunny day, you'd use like an ND32. Now, what that means is that you can, because it's got sunglasses on, you can drop the ISO down, and you can have the ISO really low, and that gives you that depth of field and that more cinematic look. So those scenes yesterday that I filmed were just on an action camera with an ND filter on, but it makes all the difference. You'd think it was like my big camera, my big professional camera, which I've taken down on the front a few times. You've probably seen it, where it's beautiful. It's got a big lens and all the rest of it. It's an 18-70 f2.8. It's just beautiful, all blurry background. But I can't get the background blur, but I can make it look a bit more cinematic. And that's my obsession. Nobody cares. You won't care. And anybody watching it will be thinking, oh, wow, this is amazing. God, he was filming that on an Action 5 Pro, but it's just on an action camera. It looks great, and it's easier to get in the ground, and the microphones, which, because it's the DJI, the little mic minis, just attached to it automatically. You don't have to plug anything in. It just all automatically. However, I made a big mistake yesterday, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know what I did, but you can for some reason, I clicked something at half time and I turned it. It filmed in vertical. So when you watch the video, I've had to do something creative with it, with my goal scene, because it's in vertical. It doesn't go. It's not horizontal. And then I did a big long interview with George at half time, and it's all done in vertical, and all you can see is me and him talking. So I couldn't put it. You can watch his interview, which is more or less the same thing on George BFC. It's more or less the same thing we said. We filmed it twice, one for him, one for me on my camera. But I couldn't put it in because he's not on the screen at all. It's just me, vertical. And it's like really chopped in, like really close. And for some reason, I must have flicked it back with about 10 minutes to go. And so, but I had some other footage on my other camera that I'd filmed, and I kind of put it all together to try and make, a decent second half. But really, there was loads of stuff in the second half that I couldn't show because it was all vertical and you can't see pickle. I was so disappointed, and you can't zoom it out to make it wide because it just kind of, it's just like your massive big head, it takes up the whole screen. So I was so disappointed, but it's just another mistake that I've made with the camera that I don't know what, I'm getting used to. So it's only got a very little screen on the front, and I must have it must put some lines up or something that tells me I'm I'm filming vertical because it still looked like it was filming horizontal to me. But anyway, that was anyway. Tech report with your host Lee Charles. Yeah, indeed. Well, somebody asked. It's it's my obsession. In fact, when you become a YouTuber, you get really into video. You get really into, because you're making videos. You need to learn how to edit. You need to learn how to film. So I watch. I'm constantly watching YouTube channels that are teaching you how to film and how to get do tight. Do a wide, tight, medium, tight shots and all this sort of stuff. But I can't do all the things I want to do because I've only got one camera. There's only me. But I could make these videos so much better if I had like 3 cameramen around the ground. Somebody filming the north, looking at the crowd like they've got there. It's brilliant, isn't it? But I can't do that. I'd love to do that. Yeah, well, it is. It is. And who would who would be mad enough? What young YouTuber would spend 500 quid on a light here that I've got? Who? Nobody, would they? Who would pay for 200 quid for this light on this side? So that's £700. No, nobody's going to pay that unless you're mental about it. Nobody's going to buy a Rodecaster Pro for your sound at like 600 quid. Nobody's going to go for a YOLO Box Pro. They'll just use like StreamYard on the free version with the StreamYard thing on. They're not going to buy one of them for £1,100 and have a MacBook here for $2,000 and microphones. It all costs money. So it's either just an obsession or it's not. And they're not interested in that. If I spoke to George about all that lot, he'd just be like, he'd just go over his head because he's not bothered. He's got his iPhone. It's good enough for him. He's doing what he loves doing, which is football vlogging. He loves that part of it. Whereas I love videography. I love movies. I'd love to be making movies. That's what I like. I like cameras. I'm in love with cameras. There's a bloody camera I want. It'd cost me with the body and lens, I'd be spending £10,000, but I want it. But fortunately, I do a job now as a videographer, so I can invest in a few more cameras and stuff. But it's my job. I'm now a videographer. I work for a tennis company, and I make videos for them. Yeah, the mics do make the video because you can hear us clear as bell, can't you? You can hear us, and they're not that expensive, really. The Osmo Action 5 Pro with those 2 DJI mics is all right. What app software do I edit on? I edit on Final Cut Pro. Everything's done on Final Cut Pro. I bought my first, when I first started doing the channel, I bought a MacBook because I needed something and I knew I could video edit on that. And that comes with, what does it come with? iMovie. So it comes preloaded with iMovie, and I learnt probably my first 50 videos were all edited on iMovie. And then I decided to upgrade and buy Final Cut Pro, which is Apple at the time was 250 quid, and that's for life. So you get it for life. You don't have to pay any subs to it or anything. It's just part of Apple. But the Final Cut Pro is like the grown-up version of iMovie. So if you start on iMovie, then Final Cut Pro is it works exactly the same. It's just got more things, and you can add, you can buy different things for it. And I've learned loads and loads of things about editing J-cuts and L-cuts and all these sort of things. You wouldn't believe that, like, every clip that's in the video, I mix the sound together with a J cut or an L cut underneath. You don't hear it. So, there's no like hard cut between the noises, just all underneath all the time. Because I do that with every single clip. When I'm there, it's just part of my editing thing. I color grade it. I do a lot with the color grading, and I also mess around with the sound. I actually do an audio mix on every single clip of the video. I have it as a preset now, but sometimes I have to do a different preset for a different one. But anyway, I do all that. It takes me hours to set it up. It normally takes me about 3 hours just to do the intro, because that's the most complicated bit. The bit that takes me so long to do. Which is sometimes why I do it on a Friday, so I can spend the 3 hours on the Friday getting that intro section ready. And there's a scene actually on the Leighton Orient one where I walk towards the bench. I don't know if you noticed it. Probably didn't notice it, but to me, it was just like beautiful because I cut on the action. So basically, I filmed myself walking to the bench and sitting down, and then I filmed myself again sitting down and saying the thing, and I cut it. I cut the two things. So as I'm just sitting down and as I sit down, I'm talking to the camera, and it's just all one smooth movement because I cut it right in the action, right in the middle. And you probably didn't even notice, but honestly, to get that right, get that timing right, took me quite a bit just to get it bang on as I wanted it. But doesn't get me any more subscribers? No, it doesn't. But it's just my obsession. And I'm glad you appreciate it. In fact, one of my favourite scenes, again, because I had the opportunity to do it on the video. If you've not seen my match vlog yet, but at the end, I decided, because I've been stood on that little corner and people just go past me and yeah, but that kind of thing, and they walk past me and a lot of them just ignore, they're looking somewhere else. They don't even see me, and then some kids will come up and everything. But I was walking across. I thought I'll walk to the Armfield because nothing's happening here. And as I started walking, I just came into all the stuff coming around from the north onto Bloomfield Road, and they're all going past it like Charles Davey. They're all singing, oh, wanky wanky, and the whole scene is just reminds me of the Championship days when I used to get those scenes coming out with all the fans around me and everything. And I kind of just love that scene. If you haven't watched it to the video, if you haven't watched the video till the end, then watch the end scene, because that is just, for me, it's just beautiful. And I love getting the Blackpool fans when they're in a great mood and the whole thing's buzzing and bouncing when they're coming out. I love it. It's my dream. I tell you, those scenes are my dreams. Yeah, it is amazing the amount of work I have to do, but it's a labour of love. It doesn't feel like work. I'm fiddling with it and faffing around with it and trying to get it right. And then when you've finished it, then when you've made a video that's 20 minutes long, and it's like, say it's 2:00 in the morning and I finish, then that's got to all what it's called like render. So you save it and it saves that video, and Final Cut Pro, saves it all, and that can take half an hour. Then I upload it to YouTube, and that can take another 40-50 minutes while I'm waiting to go to bed to get it up so I can set it to come on at a certain time. So I might finish at 2, but then it's another hour and a bit faffing around, and it's going on in 2K, whereas I don't know if George's quality has improved at the moment, but it was only 460p, which it needs to be better quality than that. But 2K takes longer to get up onto YouTube, but it just looks better, obviously. Martin Jackson said, I kick all the Welsh teams out of the English FA. Plenty of good teams in the National League to take their place. I know, but they're in it, aren't they? He's saying 4-0. Well, that's I'd take that right now, to be honest. I think it'd be tougher than that. They're playing well, Reading, despite all the troubles. I'd love a 4-0, because I always say to Bestie, I like those games where you're just like sipping a margarita on the beach at the end of the game, where you just, you're so comfortably in front that there's no stress, we were on the edge of our seats on Saturday. Yesterday, we were on the edge of our seats. I'm sure you were as well. It just felt like Bolton were coming at us, and there was a couple of times, wasn't there? There was a couple of shots that went right across the face of goal. Any touch they'd have been in, and they just didn't get to them, did they? It was that close, and Tyra pulling off those 2 wonder saves. They really were. You don't appreciate the Welsh bias considering that I was born there. What do you mean? Is that in the comments what I'm saying? I'm just, my thing with the Welsh, with the Wrexham show, is that I just wished it was Blackpool. That's all, really. And I just think that Blackpool's got a lot more eye candy than Wrexham, and they're always trying to show in the show, places in Wrexham and make it look good, and it's not. It's like trying to make Burnley, look great, isn't it? If they'd have bought Burnley, tried to do some nice scenes in Burnley. There's nothing like the Golden Mile. There's nothing like the Blackpool Tower. There's nothing like the piers. There's nothing like the big one, the Pleasure Beach, all lit up. It's it's an incredible view of Blackpool. That's not slagging off the Welsh. It's just Blackpool is better, and our history is better than Wrexham's. fact. It just is. You know, they may have been the first national stadium in Wrexham, and that's their claim to fame. They've done very little else other than that. I mean, all the years they've been a football team. And Blackpool, bloody hell. You know, Alan Bull played for Blackpool when we won the 1966 World Cup. We won the 1953 Cup final. We've won the Anglo-Italian Cup. We've been to the final of the Anglo-Italian Cup again the year after. We've won playoff finals, LDV finals. We've done all sorts. And we get millions of visitors every year on holiday. So Cardiff, some people, just, do believe that, like, just like Scotland, Scotland are not in English football, and they think that Wales have got their own league and maybe those clubs should be in a Welsh league. Well, but they've been in the Football League since the early days, so they're rightfully there and they are successful. I don't hold anything against Welsh clubs. I think they're all right, and we used to love, as Blackpool fans, going to the Millennium Stadium, and it was fantastic. We had our, I actually bought a top from some vendor there when we went to one of the second one, and it just had on it just said quite simply Millennium Stadium, home of Blackpool FC, because we were there that often. So I'm very fond of Cardiff, and we've done some football tourist guides of Swansea and Cardiff, and they've been fantastic. There's two of our, if you haven't subscribed or haven't even seen our football tourist guide channel, they're on there, Swansea and Cardiff. We had a great time. I haven't been to Wrexham. I've not done Wrexham, but yeah. I just think, they just think they're so loud and so fantastic. And, I don't think they'll have gone to anywhere like Blackpool when it's rocking, and they will see what it is really like when a place is rocking. I have heard that, yeah, Reading have until April the 4th to be sold. They'll probably get kicked out. Well, yeah, it's never over. It's never over. Somehow they can delay these things and get over it. Michael X says, Harry sends his best regards from the Yorkshire Seasiders, indeed. Tell Harry, thank you very much. Attendance guess for Tuesday, well, it's going to be down, isn't it? Reading won't bring as many as Bolton, so they might bring, they will bring a few. They're up there. They may bring, I don't know what the sales are on Reading, but they might bring 800, and it could be around about 10, but it's going to be nowhere near 11. It could be around 10. Yes, they are. They're second in the table currently. They're doing very well, aren't they, Wrexham? And it's just, they've got that momentum going. They could well get. I don't think they'll find it as easy to get. I think once they hit the Championship, that's where you hit. Your biggest problems on trying to get in the Premier League, because you're up against all them parachute payments coming down. You're up against some big teams with big budgets, and you can't attract. You can't. The money that Wrexham are going to turn over in the Championship, just like Blackpool. They're not going to get the money to compete on the wages for the best players unless they really, really spend a lot of money. And it's whether they want to spend that much money. You think the wages, to get good players, you're saying Ennis on 15 grand a week. Well, they'd have to be competing, wouldn't they, with Stoke and, and they're not even a big club. So when they're going for a player, they're trying to get, say if they were trying to sign Niall Ennis, well, he'd want 15 grand a week. Well, how much can they afford to buy those players? And that's when you come up against the difficulties. And that's where, if you can get in the Premier League, it should change your club forever, because of that, the money you get, if you're sensible, and the parachute payments, you should be good and strong without spending your money. But they'd have to really dig deep in their pockets if they want to get in the Premier League, unless they can get some amazing sponsorship deals. But I just don't think they'll have the money, to make a dent. They may well, stay in the Championship. Like if Preston can stay in, if the Nobbers can stay in, anybody can stay in. Really, we should have stayed in. I can't believe we let it go so easy. Conor answers, hope Reading's atmosphere will be like Lincoln a couple of months ago. North to be sold out again. Why not? The players want it. We need it. We need to. Yeah. Semi-Tom says the Championship is dead hard. 3 clubs just relegated from the Premier League and favourites to go right back up as well. So, yeah, it's easy, honestly. I know Blackpool did it. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And Burnley did it as well. Another club that did it, but they managed to stay in, and they had owners that, Burnley did really well because Burnley people, Burnley, not big spenders, you know what I mean? Their mentality is, it's corner shop. It's like little, villagey type people. They just wouldn't spend the millions, and they did well to not spend the millions and stay in. And they have actually, made a lot of money, Burnley, out of it, and every credit. But we should have done the same thing. Conor Ryan says, I really appreciate these lives as well. It gives me somewhere to let out how I'm feeling about this Saturday. Yeah, well, I'm the same. I mean, I talk to Jane, but she soon gets bored of me talking about Blackpool. She doesn't really want to talk to me about Blackpool at all. I do her head in, so I come on here and bore all you lot instead of her. So I get to talk about it with you guys. I want to talk about it because it was just so good, wasn't it? It was just a great game. Blackpool at times, as I say, were like, they were like watching Brazil at times, and then other times it was terrifying. And I thought Bolton, if anybody's watching this from Bolton, I thought Bolton played really, really well. And they could have, on another day really scored another couple of goals, couldn't they? There was a couple that just slid across the goal, and they did, but people have kind of, mentioned that they do a lot of the side to side to side to side to side. They do keep you under pressure, and they do keep hold of the ball, and they are kind of camped in your half, but they didn't really put pressure balls in, did they? Apart from, they did, but not as much of the possession they had. And it was a bit like Critch ball, isn't it? Where this is how teams play, where they just keep hold of the ball and pass it around. But yeah, I thought Bolton did well. It was do you mean the Red Dragons? Cardiff were the Bluebirds, weren't they? They changed them to the Red Dragons, but I think they've gone back to the Bluebirds now, have they? I think Cardiff have gone back to the Bluebirds. Conor Ross says, do you think we can keep hold of Albion, Sonny and Ollie Casey this summer? Depends, doesn't it? If we got promoted, then definitely yes, I think we can. But if we're still in this League One, there will be teams sniffing, won't there? Conor says, thinks Sonny's contract should be the priority of the summer. Won't get a better attacking midfielder in this league. And it's hard to believe we would actually be saying that. Bruce has turned him around, hasn't he? A lot of people were like slagging Sonny Carey off. There's a lot of hate for him on the View from the Tower, and I've always liked him. I've said that from the first moment I saw him. I thought we'd sell him for more money than any other player ever. I thought he had that potential, but if he ends up going on for free and nothing in the summer, it would be a shame. But maybe, he's had enough. He doesn't want to stay here. Maybe he's playing as well as he is, knowing he's going to be moving on. WG fan says, the Championship has been slacking recently, considering their promoting teams just get relegated the next season. Yeah, I know. It's. I just honestly, I think we could do it again. I don't think Blackpool are a plain vanilla side like the Nobbers. I don't think we are, and I think if they just did this stadium, but I've heard things about the stadium. They're not going to do the East Stand in the way that they were going to do it. They've scaled it all back, and it's not going to be quite as impressive. And I think that's sad. And there's a part of me, because of that, wishes he would sell and let somebody do it proper. Somebody can afford to do it proper, because I think if Blackpool had a really good stadium, and I think if we did that full side, I think it would change Blackpool forever, because we're still, in spite of the fact that it's, it does take a decent amount of people, we've still got a temporary stand. I know it's like a piled in, but it's still a temporary, and we're still little because of it. It still keeps us little. But if they made that East Stand, if I won the Euro Millions, I'd build it. I swear to God, I would build the East Stand. I would pay for it, as long as I got like a private. That would be my dream. If I won this 200 million on the Euro Millions, I would build the East Stand, and it would be Blackpool's front. It would be the front. of Bloomfield Road. It would be the main stand. It would have illuminated Blackpool FC on it. It would have tricky restaurants, you know, really nice glass-looking thing, you know, like beautiful things, executive boxes. I'd have like entertainment lounges in, which could be used, you know, which are on the ground floor like they are at Wigan, because I've DJ'd at Wigan. They've got 2 great, massive places where they can have all sorts of school balls and bands on in the summer, and and you can just roll your equipment in. Any band can just roll in because it's all on the ground floor entry, and all that could all be behind the seats, because that's where you make the money, behind the seats in the winter, you know, when there's no football. If you've got venues and different rooms where people can have weddings and all the stuff, and that would be my main stand. And if that was the main stand and that was the front of the ground, and, you know, the side that is now the west side would be the back of the ground, then I think we'd have an absolutely bloody amazing, you know, I think we'd have an amazing stadium. And I think that would lift us out of this where we are now. I really do. And I kind of wish he'd just sell up and go, because if he hasn't got the ambition to do that east stand as I think it should be, and all that corner's going to go, all that grot around there, so it will be the first thing you see as you come in, you know, the fans are arriving, they just see this amazing big front to the ground looking superb. And I think it would change us forever. And I just think it's so sad if they're not going to do it. They're just going to do a little half-hearted sort of thing, and it's not going to be all that big. And it just, I don't know why they bothered. Yeah, it's not competitive in the Premiership, but it is still competitive in the Championship. I would say it's the best league. A lot of teams do bounce back and forth, but it would be great, wouldn't it, to just get that money that we once had. Have we forgotten about Norwich and Watford? Oh, it's at Semi-Channel Live. I know. I just need the 200 million, don't I? If I could just, if I could just get the 200 million, I swear to God, and I just can't believe that. I can't. This is what I can't believe, right? Simon Sadler, you know, is a Blackpool fan, so he claims. Right, he's been a Blackpool fan for years, and he knows, just like you know, and just like I know, that Valerie Bellicon built the South Stand, and he paid for it. It was built by him. Carl Oyston, before Valerie Bellicon came in, was never going to build the South Stand until he had it all pre-let, if you remember. It was all about pre-letting before we'd even build it. But Valerie Bellicon just come in, and I think he built it at that time for about, was it 4.5 million or something it was built. And that South Stand has got, you know, a pretty nice hotel in it. You know, it's got a nice hotel in it. And it's got a really tricky restaurant in it that's like, pretty nice. If you go in, it's like it's a little bit like you're not in Blackpool, you know, in Blackpool Stadium. It's like you're in somewhere more professional, you know, because it is beautiful in there. And then the Oystons built like a penthouse shag parlour or whatever it was up at the top, which we've never seen, but I imagine it was like amazing. And all that was built. And surely they must know that all that lot, you know, and it's got the Heineken Lounge as well, and it's got some, you know, the bedrooms on the which if there was no hotel, but to see that and what the Oysters did by getting somebody in to help them, you know, by getting some, they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to spend the money on it, they didn't have the money to spend on it. Carl Oyston was never going to do it because it was all had to be pre-let and all that, but it was there, the land was there to build on, and they did it because they were smart, and they got Valerie Bellicon in to build it for him. And I can't believe that Simon Sadler doesn't look across at that South Stand and think, if I just got somebody in like Bellicon with a bit of, you know, some of these people that used to invest in his billion dollar hedge fund, yeah, there's got to be some bloody rich people that he knows. Because if you're managing a hedge fund of $1 billion or whatever it was, he doesn't. his mates are not just, Jack and Jill at the pub on the Highfield Road. He knows billionaires. And surely his brain must think, how much money could I make if I built a better stand than that one over there and a better stand than this thing over here, which is, we all know is clad shit and all the, oh God, there's problems with it all the time. There's a rust in the roof and everything else. And if he just got somebody in to build it for him and built that as the best stand, he'd have an absolutely amazing ground. Why does he not want it? Why does he not want that? And if he doesn't want that, really, why is he here? Why has he bought a club of his hometown team? Because if he's like me and he's Blackpool through and through, he knows the potential in Blackpool. He knows how many millions of people come here on holiday. He knows it, doesn't he? So why does he not have the ambition to have a stadium that can do all sorts of holiday things in it? I don't understand why he would want to think smart. I know probably because of his financial trouble, and if he is in financial trouble, then just don't do it, Simon. Just take the seats out and just redo all the seats, whatever you need to pass, and just let somebody come in to build us don't build something that keeps us small. Don't build us something that keeps us small, because it will keep us small if it's not ambition. And I said to the lads on Saturday that every time Blackpool's done something really good, it's because we've built some new stands. That our successes have come around the time when stands were going up. Even the Premier League thing, the stands, the South Stand had only just gone up, hadn't it? We got in the Premier League, they had to build that temporary quick, but all our successes are down to those building stands and making the club bigger. And you don't want to just ruin this opportunity and build something pointless. Right, just back to the comments. Brentford stayed up though, yeah, but they built a fantastic stadium. It's fantastic. Fulham have stayed up. They built an absolutely amazing stand on, goes out over the Thames. It's unbelievable. It's transformed them. They're still in there. Connor answers, the characters we have in that dressing room is unmatched at any other club. All cracking jokes at each other showed in the brilliant players' reactions. Yeah, that's on X. I forgot time to show that because I'm going to get off in a minute. Fulham, Bournemouth and Nottingham are the only recent teams that got promoted in one season and then haven't got relegated the season after. Yeah, well, as I say, Fulham stayed up because they built an absolutely huge 20,000 extra seats in the most amazing blooming stand. That's the engineering of it to actually build it out into the Thames. It goes out over into the Thames. The footings are in the bloody Thames. It's a phenomenal, and that's lifted them. Then you've got Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Nottingham Forest taken over by a bloody multi-billionaire, shipping magnate who owns that club out in Greece and everything. He's got more money. They're not a poor club, and they've stayed up because they got fined, didn't they, the first year for spending so much money, and they've got through that luckily, and now all that money that they spend is all right, because they don't owe money, because the guy's a billionaire. So yeah, they will stay up, but for Blackpool just to get in once would be great. Somebody told me says Leisure Miles better than Goldbridge, mate. I know, but he's Man United, isn't he? If I was Man United, I wouldn't. Oh God, yeah, I know. I like Goldbridge though. I like Goldbridge. I like him. I like the True Geordie podcast as well. I really like the True Geordie podcast. I think he's great, but he's gone more off. He's gone into all political things now and that, which kind of puts me off a little bit. I can't be asked talking about politics because it's all bad. Do you think we can make the playoffs? You don't. Of course, I think we can make it. Whether we will or not, you've got to believe. You believe until the time you can't. That's it. That's being a football fan. You start off the season, you think you're going to get promoted. You're getting near the playoffs, you're moving up the league, you've seen it so many times before. We can do it. We've done it before. And this team are getting better. You know, they didn't look like a few months ago, we didn't really look like we were good enough to get in the playoffs. But now we look like we're good enough. You know, we really do look like we're good enough. I mean, Leyton Orient were above us, and I know they beat us, but my God, we battered them. We had so many chances. We were so much better than Leyton Orient. It was unbelievable. I'll never know how they beat us, because it was ridiculous. Just one of them days. But, you know, we're playing Bolton. They're above us. We beat them, you know, and they couldn't beat us, could they? You know, they're above us in the league. They're going for the playoffs. They couldn't beat us. Blackpool look now like a team, if they keep this run going, could do it. And that's how it is. So, yes, I do. I do think we can. Sure. See, it was, wasn't it? That's what it was, wasn't it? Conor says, also, Lee, if you're ever in contact with the club again, please ask them when the flag's above. They don't talk. I'm never in touch with the club. Never, ever. Although if they want to bollock me for something, that's it. That's the only time I have any freaking contact with the club to tell me to leave the stadium because I'm filming, because I could be catching kids on camera or whatever it was for family day. Oh, God. I don't know. Every kid wants to be on YouTube, leecharlestv. They all want to be on YouTube. And hedge fund manager to buy Blackpool, news at 11. Yeah, well, no, Simon Sadler was the hedge fund manager, but he was managing like a lot of money. So he's got to walk in the circles of billionaires. I mean, he must know a few. So surely that could be. Ambition is the key word. Yes, it is. It's like Kevin Costner, isn't it? Build it, they will come. If you don't build it, if you don't make it into the dream, Blackpool Football Stadium is not a dream. It's good. For players that come from like non-league or little small clubs and they come to Blackpool, it's a big stadium. And it looks huge. You know, when you're inside, it's quite huge, but a lot of it is kind of wasted height because of that thing that you could build on top of it. So a lot of it's wasted height. So it's actually bigger than it actually is, but it's biggish. But if it had if it had its biggest stand, you know, even a 2-tier stand, like a 2-tier stand on the east side, that was its main stand, then it would be an amazing stadium. It would be a stadium. It would be a dream stadium. But it isn't going to be a dream stadium if they just do it half-hearted and they scale it down and don't go for it. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody, I don't know if it's true, but they told me that all they're going to do is basically just take out the seats, put them all back in on stanchions again and redo the roof. And that's it. That's what I've heard. They've scaled it back to that level. And I kind of wish they wouldn't. I just wish they say, look, sorry guys, we'll just leave it for a while and we'll maybe get an investor in who can do this east stand and make a stand that everybody's like, wow. Do you know what I mean? There's no wow, is there, when you come to Bloomfield Road? I mean, there's not even illuminated footage outside. And I know they've got the crest on the stair things going up, but it's just drab. Honestly, it's the drabbest thing in... You know, when you talk about the Golden Mile and how it's all full of lights and absolutely wonderful, the football stadium is not, is it? It's just not. Because it's lacking a fantastic grand bit to go in. And it annoys me. Yeah, no, I haven't seen Bournemouth's new training ground, but they know Squires Gate shit. You know, they've done the best with it, and they've done a lot with it, and they've put porta cabins in and like modular housing sort of stuff. So they've made it a lot better than it was. But Jesus, it's still not great, is it? You know, they've worked on the groundsmen have worked on the pitches and everything, and it's a lot better. It is a lot better than it was. But my God, we're a million miles away from, having academies there, and just even you look at Fleetwood and it's a million miles away from ours. Even Sebi was playing at Files, when he was 15, he was in their academy and he used to go down there, and it's beautiful. Fylde Academy is amazing. Conor says, hope the new canteen is good at Squires Gate. Yeah. So I said, by the way, there is a seating requirement for the Prem, as we all know, so you have to invest. Is there? Is there? Because Bournemouth went up with 11,000. You know, their stadium only owns 11. I think they're going to expand it now, but only on 11, and they've got in. They're in now, so I don't know. It was good enough for the Premier League last time. The problems were with the Premier League was the lights were, you know, the floodlights weren't up to Premier League standard, which they are now. Obviously, all the floodlights are much better at Bloomfield Road. But it's like I say, until we make it a beautiful stadium, and to make it a beautiful stadium, you've got to make that east beautiful, because the rest of it isn't. You know, it would be all right as a back. You know, as like, you know, the circle to the front, it would be all right then, because you wouldn't bother, because it's the back, isn't it? But the front. So John Lasses don't like Goldbridge at all. Have to fly in on him at any chance. It's in my contract. You don't like him. Well, you won't like him because he's United anyway. So you're not going to be a big fan of him if you're Everton. You're not going to like Manchester United. 47 years and counting. That's two from... Is that Bolton? Yes, Coolio Guy Play says, I loved it when the Bolton fans celebrated after it went right. It did look like it was him. And it was great to shove it to him, because they really did have the goal moment, didn't they? You know, they properly celebrated a goal. And it was one of those where it kind of... You know, it's one of those where they were still going on for about 30 seconds, and they were still maybe about, I don't know, 30 seconds long, maybe 15 seconds before they realised it wasn't a goal, and Blackpool fans were all giving him shit. But the good thing about Saturday as well was there was a lot more in the South Stand, because obviously, you know, certain elements of Blackpool want to be there to give it to the Bolton fans, don't they? And, you know, and so there was a lot of extra tickets on the South, and the South was pretty loud. It wasn't as loud as it was in the Premier League, but it was loud. It was a lot louder. You know, you could tell on the video it was a lot louder. You couldn't hear yourself speak at times, and that's because there was just more people in, and it still wasn't full. You know, it could have been fuller. Let's just club calls Lee before every recruitment. Yeah, yeah. Do you know? You know, I made good friends with Wolfie, who's the Nottingham Forest Fan TV guy. You know, I spoke to him a lot because he's a bit obsessed with cameras and all the rest of it. So we got on really well, and he, some of the directors at Forest, so people on the board kind of know him. You know, they know him, and he was telling me when he's doing his live stream, you know, on the final day of the transfer window, they actually rang him from the club to give him the exclusive, because like thousands are watching him, and he only had like 15,000, but there's thousands watching his, like, you know, his end of the transfer window video live, and he gets a call in the show from the club to say, we've just, you know, this is hot news, he's just passed his medical, we've just signed this player. And he put it out, you know, it came out on his live stream on YouTube. And that's because they're a club that understand. Do you know? They understand. They never bother, you know, Mr. Dorr for all his footage, because they know that the interest of young kids in YouTube channels about football brings fans in. It brings fans in. So I don't get it. Our club think that we're the Antichrist, you know what I mean? We're the worst thing. We're stealing money out of the pockets for what they should be getting from the EFL, and it's all just utter rubbish. It's utter rubbish, you know. I was watching the show Messi Goes to America. I don't know if you've seen it. He goes to play for Florida, you know, the Florida team, and there's a scene where Messi's coming out at the start, and like the whole of the stadium, I'm telling you, the thousands and thousands of people are there with their iPhones out, you know, and Messi's coming out for the first time to the, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000 people there. And there's not one single person. You can't, it's just a mass of iPhones and everybody's filming him. And they're not bothered because they know, they know that those 15 to 20,000 people are going to post those videos on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, and that just drives the whole publicity machine, you know, and that's what it's all about. You know, that's what it's all about. And YouTubers, young kids that like doing them and me and all the rest, it doesn't really matter if we show match footage or not, or if we show goals, because everybody know, you know, anybody watching my video today knows that Blackpool beat Bolton 2-1. No, they know it. So whether I've got it in or whether I haven't got it, the goal's in, doesn't make any difference because it's already there. You know, the videos are already out from the club. They're already out on Sky. They're already, it's all done and dusted. And just like me, the EFL are then rolling on to Tuesday night to the Reading game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, and all it does is it gains interest in the club. You know, the more people watching me, you know, if I was getting 10,000 views on a video, on this video, and they were all Blackpool fans, they'd have more people going on Tuesday because more people be watching me saying, get your arse down on Tuesday. And that's what it's all about. But for some unknown reason, you know, for some unknown reason, they don't get it. And I don't get why they don't get it. I don't get why they can't see that, like, Sony bring out a brand new camera and they're sending the cameras out to all these big YouTubers. Review this because you review it and everybody's going to watch it, and anybody who's into cameras is going to buy that camera if you say it's great. It just makes no sense. Let's just have a look. I've been waffling on. Harry Tyler said it's the best stadium in the league. It's not the best stadium. It's the best crowd in the league. He might be talking about. He might be talking about. It's saying stadium, but what he's really saying is there's no other stadium in the league like Blackpool, because I swear to God, there is nowhere like Blackpool. And I've told you, I've been away. We did a whole season, you know, of every game. We've been to loads of away games, and there's nowhere. There is nowhere. There is no club anywhere like Blackpool. And I remember when, you know, Footy Adventures came here for the first time. He's a lad that does like Scottish vlogging, and he comes. I've met him a couple of times. I met him at Reading. You know, I like him. I've got along with him really well. And he came to Blackpool, and he was just, he couldn't believe it. In his vlog, he said, honest to God, I can't believe this place. And he was actually saying in it that, he said, I've never been to a football club where the fans have a song for a corner. You know what I mean? He literally said that. I think I've never seen this. They have a song for a corner, and we do. You don't get that anywhere. You know what I mean? You just don't get what we have, and yeah, I thought our stadium was big until you went to Derby away. Yeah, well, if we had Derby County's stadium, it would probably be too big for us, because it was a bit too big for Derby. I mean, probably not now where they're doing well, but it was a big at the time. It was too big, way too big for Derby. But a 20,000, you know, would do wonders really, and it would give them the opportunities. You know, the thing is, you can't give away, you know, offers and things to schools and all the rest of it if you haven't got the seats to put, you know, to give the offers to. I know there is things coming in on offers because I've seen them, but that's because the attendance is so low and there's spare seats. But if we were at our maximum, you can't give away. If you're playing really well and you're at your maximum, you can't give away free seats if you haven't got spare seats. And if we were sold out, that's it. You can't grow it any bigger because that's it. There's a maximum. So you've always got to have. It's always got to be a bit bigger to get us up to where we want to be, to get us up into the Championship, and let's stay in the Championship and maybe have a pop at the Premier League. We've got to have a stadium that's good enough, that's that quality to get you there. And if you think small, you're only ever going to be small. You know, the Victorians didn't come and build Blackpool and build it small. They built it massive. It was like phenomenal in its day, and that's why it did so well. You know, they had a dream and they built it, and you've got to build things. You know, and if you can't make money out of a stadium in Blackpool in the summer, when in the pre-season, I've said it before, you need your head testing. There's no other arena in Blackpool. We don't have a concert arena, do we? We don't have one. We have a comedy carpet, which they kind of flub into some sort of like concert thing, but it's, you know, it's too, anyway, that's another story. But you know what I mean? You've got a massive big stadium there that things can be done in the summer. And the better you made it, and if you put another hotel in it, which was even better than the one that's on there, you can get more people, make more money out of the trade that comes to Blackpool throughout the year. Connor answers, that's embarrassing if that's what happened with the East and no training ground as well. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, they're keeping quiet. I don't know if it's true, but just somebody told me they had a meeting and that's what they were told. Matty Virtue scored 9 goals for Fleetwood this season. Luton Town went up in 2022-23 and they had less than 10,000 seats, so they had to add those extra seats before the beginning of the season. Yeah, exactly. But we have got 15,000, well, 16,000 seats even now. If they were all in commission, we've got 16,000. We got plenty for the Premier League, even as we are now. It was good enough, but it's not good enough. It doesn't matter that it was good enough to go in. It's not good enough. It doesn't look good enough. It's still that little bit little because it's just got a temporary stand. It's still half cocked, isn't it? It's still not quite the finished article. It's quirky, and they don't use it, do they? Because the access to it's horrendous down the back Henry Street and all the rest of it. The whole thing just needs to. When they get rid of Henry Street, they need to build it big, and I wish they would. Oh, your best mate is a United. That's not why. You just don't like him. You just don't like Goldbridge at all. Goldbridge was a Forest supporter when they were small, but switched to United simply for more views. Think if you changed Blackpool just for the channel. Well, no, exactly. I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to be a Thogden, but I can understand. The only thing I kind of wish I did with football vlogging is like footy adventures. You know, if I'd have had that thing where I had no allegiance to Blackpool and I just went and did away, you know, matches and went visiting, you know, like Jane and I do with the football tourist guides, and we just did that, but they're just so expensive. We just can't make enough money to do them enough. I've just put one on actually for Exeter, which I'm really pleased with, and if you haven't seen it yet on the football tourist guide, please do. But yeah, I just think that whenever you go to different grounds and you go to different places and you go to different towns and you do a little vlog about it, you pick up people all the time. You know, so people will watch it from Chester, people will watch it from York, people will watch it from wherever you go, they'll watch it. And because you're talking, you know, about their place and they see it and they like it and they start to follow you, and you can grow it a lot quicker. But the other thing that Footy Adventures has, he doesn't have what I have, which is this like heart attack city all the time with Blackpool. Like, you know, my views are dependent on the results. My mental, like, capacity with it all to watch a game and lose and spend 8 hours editing, watching us lose over and over again as I'm editing it and put myself through all that stress. He doesn't have any of that because he doesn't care. He's not bothered who wins. It doesn't matter to him what the result is because it's not about his club. He's not following his club. He has no allegiance to any of the clubs. And it's, I think, what an easy life he has as a football vlogger doing that. And anybody that does start following doing a vlog, you know, like even for Goldbridge, if Nottingham Forest not doing really well, and he starts following United, he's still not really all that bothered, is he? He's not bothered about United. You know, Thogden, you know, he's Bolton, isn't he? But he doesn't do much on Bolton, but he's not bothered when he goes. Yeah, England, obviously, we're all a bit, you know, we're all passionate about England, but whenever he goes to Germany or do whatever, he's not bothered. He's just making a video and it's kind of good fun, isn't it? You know, and that's the only thing that I kind of wish I'd have done. Yes, Fletcher and Ennis doing the fist pumps to the stand was perfect, wasn't it? You know, they had every right to do fist pumps to the fans, and the fans loved it, and they loved it just as much coming. Steve Bruce ain't going to do it like Critch, because it's not all about Steve Bruce, is it? You know, Critch was kind of all about him, wasn't he, with that thing? But Fletcher and Ennis, they deserved the fist pumps, didn't they? And the crowd going mad because they were buzzing, weren't they? Because they'd won the game. Wolfie must be having his time of his life this season, third place in the Premier League and getting into semi-finals of the FA Cup. Yeah, indeed. And Mr. Dorr, they're all enjoying it. They're all loving it, and I'm very jealous, of that sort of thing. I wish I could have it here. Oliver Wall says, playing you Tuesday night, looking forward to it with the way we are both playing. Indeed, it's a tough one. I don't know how to, it's not going to be easy. For either team, we are playing really, really well. And, we are, I'm speaking from the heart here. We don't like seeing what's happening at Reading. We really don't. Blackpool fans have lived these nightmares, and we know it's not, it's just horrific. And I hope they do manage to sell the club before the 4th of April for you. That's just from me as a football fan to you. Michael says, Simon, get investing properly in what the club needs, or please sell the club. You say you're ambitious. Let's test the water. Yeah, well, surely if he hasn't got the money, then surely he's seen what the Oysters managed to get out of Bellicon. So I'm sure he must be able to find somebody who can really create a dream. Messi, yeah, he's just unbelievable. Big show tonight, mate. Epic. Stamina going well over 2 hours. Yeah, it is going. I've just waffled on and on. But anyway, thanks for sticking with me and listening to all cameras and lighting and all the rest. I'm sure you're all really interested. Reach out and smash that like button if you're enjoying the stream. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying it. It's now, what time are we now? Where are we up to? I've lost track of time. It's 25 past 11, so it's getting late. Yes, we don't. I know, Michael, your things about Simon, but at the end of the day, he has done lots of things, and he's just unfortunately had this, these horrendous problems with his business, and I don't know. I've no idea what money he actually has as an owner. I don't know what money he has to pump in, but it seems like he hasn't really got the money anymore, and he doesn't want to be blowing money when he's maybe never going to get back to where he was. So I kind of wish he'd just, maybe there's nobody coming in to buy it, but I just don't think. I think there's so much potential in Blackpool for anybody to buy it. If somebody if a billionaire took over Blackpool, there's a lot more potential here in Blackpool to do way more than just Blackpool Football Club. If you got the billions, there's so much potential in the town. You could really, really make some money if you had the ambition. And Simon Sadler hasn't got that money to do my dreams, what I dream about. Yes, it would be nice, Michael, if he would do that, but I just don't think he's got. I don't think he's got the money, and rather than sell the club, I wish he'd just get a Valerie Bellicon on who could help him do it all and elevate him up. Yeah, the only good thing you can think about our stadium comparing to the others in this league is that we're basically fully seats. Well, it was a Premier League stadium. It was. We've been in the Premier League with it, so it's all fully seated. It's a great stadium. It's just still, 3 sides and a temporary, isn't it? It's not a full, complete. It's a hodgepodge, isn't it? And until it becomes a really great ground, and it's not going to become a really great ground if they just, size down the east. It's not going to be a great ground. It'll be all right, but it won't be anything. It'll just be all right. And I don't want just all right. I want something that's like brilliant. The old business adage, you have to spend money to make money, indeed. And look how Wrexham are proving that. Look how Birmingham are proving that as well. I know they're in they're in a different league to Simon Sadler, but look at what Birmingham have done and how easy they're walking this league. You know what I mean? And the guy that they signed for 15 million hasn't scored as many as Fletcher, but they're still walking the league, aren't they? Because they're just buying it. Wrexham are buying it, aren't they? Really, the same thing. They're just buying it. We're close. We're close. We've had a lot of bad luck this season. You can't blame it all on like Simon Sadler and not spending, because you can see, we're watching now, or we're watching over these last month or so, the kind of the potential that's there in this team, and how good they actually are when they play well. And they are good. They are good. And we can't say that they're not a good, and we haven't seen this. And those problems came because Bruce had the tragedy, and it just set us back. And we didn't invest as much as I'd hoped we were going to invest in January. But for some reason, Bloxham was an amazing buy, and I still think he's going to get better. And the fact that Sonny Carey and Albie Morgan have just come on so much over the last 3 or 4 months. Albie, since they sorted out his health problem with diabetes, and Sonny Carey has suddenly been given like a role that he's reveling in, isn't he? He's reveling in it. And some of the stuff that Albie Morgan does, the pass he made to Ennis was just like beautiful, wasn't it? It was just absolutely beautiful. And because Sonny Carey and Albie Morgan have taken off like they have since December, it's almost as if those are like 2 new signings. Fletcher suddenly, turning into the player he probably always was, and just lost the confidence in himself. But now you can see, my God, he's a bloody good player, you know what I mean? And people keep saying, I keep reading on A View from the Tower, like, well, he's got to kind of prove it, he's got to keep proving it. He's not going to change now. He's not gonna, he's like, he can't. Tuesday can't come quick enough for Fletcher because he's on fire. He's playing the best football. He will want to play every day of the week. He'll be so buzzing, you know what I mean? He's not gonna go back to that guy that was walking around with his head down and looking like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders, which he did look like when he first came to Blackpool. He looked like he didn't even know how to like do anything. Like he was terrified of the ball. Now he's not, is he? He's like an extra signing. Ennis was a great signing. Silvera, he's not really. I wouldn't want to sign him. To me, he's not done anything yet to make me think he's fantastic or anything. But we're looking at a great sign. Baggett's come back from injury. He's like another major signing, as a centre half. So I can't not Sadler for the events that went on. He stuck with Critch. That was his mistake. That was his big mistake, and he realised it straight away, and he got rid of him straight away. But if he'd have used his brains and been looking around at his season ticket sales, and everybody saying, we're not going to buy a season ticket because we don't want to watch bloody Critch ball anymore, and then he puts Julian Winter does like the worst interview in the world that he could have ever done about how they've got electric bills and all the rest of it, all that shit that they did. So that ruined it for them at the start of the season, and we've been recovering from that bad start, haven't we? Really. And if in another universe, Steve Bruce had been brought in at the end of last season, that a potty Critch said, yeah, well, look, thanks a lot, Neil, but thanks, but no thanks. We're getting somebody else in. The football's not good. The tennises are going down. Nobody's buying season tickets. We're just going to, thanks a lot, but see you later, pal. And brought Bruce in, and we'd have had and Bruce would have brought his own players in, and I just think we'd be sitting top of the league now. So it's just circumstances, and things didn't go quite right, but we're not out of it yet. We're not out of it yet. Michael, Sam, I hope you're taking notice. Don't forget the new PA system you need to invest into. God, you do, Simon. God, you do. Conor Ryan says, love how Bruce doesn't make it about himself like Crick Shafter. The game just waits. He just waits on the sideline and claps the fans from there. Yeah, and we all respect him for it, don't we? And we all, you love listening to his interviews because he's talking common sense, isn't he? He's talking what he sees it like we see it. He's not seeing some miracle game that nobody else is seeing, thinking we had 70% possession. How did we not win? It's like, yeah, you need to take some chances, Critch. So it's beautiful. So, to hear him say in the interview, the strikers are doing really well and they're really good. And the midfield's great now with Sonny Carey, but we're just not good at the back. Which is what we're all saying, isn't it? We're just dodgy at the back, aren't we? We are dodgy and we do let some stupid goals in. But I thought anyway, Baggett's injured, so there we go. Michael Ellis said Lee Charles should be the voice of the club and should be doing Tangerine TV. Simon, you don't listen to the right people. Trust me, pal. I know exactly. I know. It'd be a different thing if I did it. I wouldn't be tweeting what they tweeted to Preston. I'd have had something. I'd have had a good dig at them, but I wouldn't have cocked up like they have. Yeah, it's always great when the away fans go mental and it hasn't gone in. I enjoyed that as much as the goals. Yeah, it was just bloody great. But from their side, it will look like it went in because it was a great shot and everything else. It was like a rocket, and it kind of hit the back of the net, didn't it? So like from that side, it will look like it's gone in. Sadler is too stubborn to get it. Yeah, it'll backfire. Why be stubborn? Why? A long time ago, I met a guy. I was working selling, and I met this guy, and he'd also started the selling job as well. And he'd been a millionaire and lost it, and been a millionaire and lost it, and he'd always been in sales. And he said a few things to me that kind of shaped my life, really. And one of the things he said to me is, like, if you ever meet if you ever meet somebody who's either really talented at what they do and it's something that you want to do, or you meet a millionaire and they're successful and you want to learn how to be successful, then learn everything you can off those people, because a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever they are, unless they've been given it, but if they've earned it, then they are people that know how the world works and they know how to do things. And if Simon Sadler cannot see that doing something to that East Stand, which is smaller and unambitious, is going to work in a way of changing Blackpool Football Club forever, then I don't understand why he's a successful businessman, because he surely must see the potential in Blackpool, and the visitor figures are unbelievable for last year, in spite of the fact that everybody comes here and says Blackpool's a shithole, I want to go home and all that. People still come here by the millions. The millions and millions. We have so many visitors. It's unbelievable. And if you've got a massive big stadium in a town which attracts millions of people, and you're not in London, you're not building it. Building prices may have gone up, but they're not playing London building prices. They're not playing Manchester building prices. And you can build something that surely if you're a businessman, you can see that what goes on behind the stands is what makes a lot of money when. And could you imagine if when Back Henry Street's gone? Because what I actually wanted, I didn't want this football sport thing that they want to do. I wanted that to all open up as a big sort of retail sort of park, or maybe like a restaurants and all tricky things. It's all open, till 11 o'clock at night. And then, the football club can then have things in the shops and all sorts of things in that stand, like to complement like a KFC or a nice restaurant and all these sort of things, all built around it, all open till midnight, say for instance, bars and just trickiness all around it. And that's what I was hoping for, to be honest. That's was my dream. It was the thing I was going to get Rob Purdon to draw, because I wanted him as a cartoonist. I was going to film it. I said, do you think you can draw the stadium in cartoon and then scribble out all the east and then start to build a beautiful stadium, and then with all tricky glass and restaurants and all this sort of stuff and shops, and then kind of build a retail park, just rub out all of Henry Street, just rub it all off, and then start to build this amazing retail park and everything all around it that's open till with with shops and retail outlets, and I just think, wow, all the potential, then a fan zone and all the rest of it. And it sounds to me like we're just building down, we're not doing that. We're not doing a dream thing. We're not embracing the potential in Blackpool. Yes, Birmingham is more American bought than Wrexham. It certainly is, and we all know who it is as well. The greatest quarterback in history. I mean, he's a legend in America, isn't he? Tom, what's he called? Tom, I can't remember his name. It's just gone. But Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, isn't he? I mean, how many billions is he worth? I mean, God, American football, the best quarterback of all time, plus all the consortium he's got with him. It's unbelievable, but why does nobody like that see Blackpool like I see it? I can't understand. We don't promote it well enough or something. I don't know what it is. Yeah, there's only one person who can do it, isn't there, at the moment, or sell it. If you can't do it, just put your hands up. So I can't do it. I haven't got the money, and if I'm going to build it, lads, I'm going to have to build it small. It's going to have to be like, really small. So it's not going to be the dream. It's just going to be this small thing, cheap, is like less money as I can do it because I ain't got a lot of money. So, like, would you rather, would you rather me kind of leave that for now and maybe we just get somebody in who can help us build the dream? Because he must want the dream, surely, doesn't he not? Does he not want Blackpool back in the Premier League? Does he not want to experience all that as an owner? Does he not want to get 150 million and change the club forever? And is he not infuriated by what the Oysters did and just blew it all? They just blew it all out of pure greed when we had the best chance in the world to be a club that was boing, boing, boing. I want to be a boing, boing club into the Premier League, back out into. So we celebrated on the promenade every other year, because there's nothing better than getting promoted into the Premier League, is there? You've no chance of winning the Premier League, so for any club like us to just get in the Premier League is like winning the bloody Euro Millions, isn't it? So the whole town, 60,000 people on the promenade, all going mental. Does he not want that? Does he not have that dream? That's my dream. That's what I want. That's it. I want to have that just once and get the money and have this club, for my children, my grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, millions of years later, where Blackpool are just forever, have reached the potential that I believe that Blackpool has over anywhere. Coolio Guy Play says, if we beat Reading to keep the playoff hopes alive, we have winnable games to get even closer, and Birmingham will probably be promoted by the time we play him. Yeah, so they may not be interested, but then again, that takes a lot of pressure off sometimes, and you can play free and and not be worrying. So it's not a gimme, but if Blackpool play every game from now to the end at our best, we turn up and we play our best football from now to the end of the season, we have the potential to win every single game. Because I actually do believe that we are, on our day, better than any team in this league. On our day. The trouble is we're not always on our day. But on our day, I think Blackpool are one of the best teams. I think we're the best team in the league. We hammered Birmingham at Birmingham, really, didn't we? What I mean? We were only a post away from beating them, weren't we? We gave them a real football match, and we give everybody a football match, even when we're not playing great. But when we're playing great, we must be so hard to beat. I wouldn't like to play against Blackpool. The players that we have, trying to get past a fire, trying to deal with Rob Apter, trying to deal with Tom Blotson, trying to, who do you mark? Ennis, now Sonny Carey, he's scoring from all over the place. But what's Albie Morgan going to do? Evans, is a quality player, isn't he? You've got Ollie Casey playing out of a jacket. We've got a goalkeeper that's pulling off Gordon Banks style saves. On our day, we can win all these games. On our day. 100%. It's not, I'm not living in fantasy land. 100%. If we play at our best, and Steve Bruce gets this defence right, he's not happy with it. So, Steve, you're a defender, sort it out. But if they just sort the defence out and play like we are, we have the potential to win every single game to the end of the season. And if we get ourselves in the playoffs, and we've ragged ourselves in there at the end, then we all know what Blackpool can do when we get there. And if we're on fire and going into the playoffs, we can do anything. So I know it sounds like Dream Street, but it's not. We are a damn good side. Dembele was amazing. Remember when he scored in half a minute against Carlisle? Yeah, he was amazing. And I liked him, but I didn't like the way he fell down all the time. That was the only thing I didn't like about him. The fact that he just couldn't stay on his feet. I've never known a player ever not be able to stay on his feet like Dembele. He was down. He was up quick. He could go down and up. You know, if a player went down with him and tackled him and they both went down together, he'd be up first because he kind of bounced straight back up, didn't he? He went down, up. It was all like in one continuous motion. He just went down, up, but all the time he'd go down. And you see Apter, you never see him fall over, do you? Never, ever. He's on his feet all the time. He does all sorts of tricky stuff, but he never, blocks him another one. I mean, he's amazing for his height. He's got so much potential. He's unbelievable. Wrexham might be a problem. Yes, of course, they might well be. But they might get automatic. Then they're not a problem. Yes, Farad Mashiri was a billionaire for Everton, and other than the stadium project, he balls it up. Yes, indeed. There's no guarantee that a billionaire is going to be good, but if Simon Sadler brings in a Valerie Bellicon, he's only a minority shareholder. Can't ruin your club. Simon Sadler's not daft enough to bring in a minority shareholder, who's going to help realise the dreams and get the stadium built and get the training ground done. And surely he can sell the potential of Blackpool to somebody. If he can't, how the hell has he become so rich? How has he been so successful? It's not possible. He has to know. He has to be a lot cleverer than me. He has to be, and he has to see the potential, and he knows the story of Blackpool. He's a Blackpool fan, so he knows what happened with Blackpool. He knows what happens with Holloway. He knows what happened since Steve McMahon came in 2000. He's lived that like we've lived it. He's lived my life, and he knows. And he's seen the concerts that the Oysons put on, and he's seen the South Stand that Valerie Bellicon built. And he's seen that it's there now, reminding him all the time. If you walk in the South Stand, it's not like any other stand, is it? It's not like the North. It's not like the West. The restaurant, like I say, is beautiful. It's like going in a Premier League restaurant. It's gorgeous. The hotel is fantastic. The lounge is good enough. The bedrooms facing the pitch. They just didn't, because they did all that, they didn't put enough seats in. It could have been as big because it was supposed to be the same height as the North, wasn't it? Both exactly the same, but they put the hotel on. But surely he sees like how much better that South Stand is to what they've got. And if you made the West better than the South, then the East, better than the South, we'd have a fantastic stadium. But if we make it smaller and less than everything else, then we just have less. My Bolton video has hit 1,000 views, and there was videos when we're in the Championship that hit 15,000 views. Going down into League One has just killed it all. One of the best videos I ever made in the Championship was, when the final game at home. The noise. I was in the North Stand for that one. It was bloody unbelievable. That video and the drama of that video is, with the penalties and all the rest of it. It was just so sad, but it was incredible video. It was incredible video, and I dream of those days and those figures, and just there was, I don't know, I was so full of like hope when we got in the Championship, and I was so full of everything, and everything seemed like a dream, and it was all going to be my dream, and people were waking up on a Monday morning to leecharlestv, and I was creating something so special, and the club just didn't try. They didn't try to stay in the Championship for me. I still don't think they tried hard enough. I don't think they did. And sadly, they stuck with Mick McCarthy, or they got Mick McCarthy. A big mistake, but if they'd have given it to Dobby like everybody wanted at the time, just give it to Dobby. If they'd have given it to Dobby at the time they gave it to Mick McCarthy, and we'd have played the way we did under Stephen Dobby from the time that Mick McCarthy came in, we would have stayed up dead easy, because Dobby had us playing really good football. I thought we were brilliant away at Luton. We should have won at Luton. We were fantastic at Luton. That was so sad that he didn't get the win there. Tom Brady is considered the best player in NFL history, owns the most rings and leads nearly every stat. Of course, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, isn't he? And he's taken over Birmingham. Why Birmingham? Why didn't he, I don't know, even Hitler came to, love Blackpool, didn't he? He was going to make it the bloody epicenter of the world, wasn't he? It was naturally defended by the Pennines and everything. He actually was going to set up Blackpool would have been London if Hitler had won the war. And he came with Ava Peron or whatever, and they went to the Pleasure Beach. He loved it, didn't he? Well, why can't we get some of these billionaires over to bloody have a ride on the Pleasure Beach and just see the potential of the airport and what it could all be, and just, the hotels, there is like plans for a few hotels, isn't there, all around the police station. So show somebody from Dubai who builds massive big bloody hotels in Dubai and say, look, you can build some amazing hotels here. We've got all the planning permission for it. Build these big hotels here on the Golden Mile. Oh my God. You know what I mean? It's just transform Blackpool forever. Conor Ryan says, I hope the new East Stand is closer to the pitch than the East Stand now. Police would like that too. With all the fans running down to the pitch, there's a road in between the stand and the pitch. Yes, there is. Well, it's a temporary, isn't it? Nobody wants that dream if they just get relegated. Well, you've got to kind of... I want the dream of going up and then being good enough to get back up, and then being good enough to get back up until you can stay up. Unless you get somebody like Nottingham Forest, who have a multi-billionaire who can afford to fund it all straight away. But a sensible way to do it would be to go up, get the 150 million, come back down with as much of it as you can. You get your parachute playoffs, invest in the players then. You've got the money, there's no problem with financial fair play, because they've given you the 150 million, they've given you the parachute payments, you can spend it on players, buy better players, get back in with those better players, maybe buy players that are good enough to stay in the Premier League in the end and cement yourself in there, and just like Burnley did. And that's my dream. And then in the end, we've been in the Premier League for 30 years, we win it. And then we're in Europe, and then we win, we win the Champions League, and that's it. That's the dream, isn't it? Is it? Surely. Semi-channel says promotion to the Premier League is exciting. I imagine. Don't know, because Everton have always been in it. Yes, we know. We know. We do know you've always been in it, but you don't have a great time in it. You're always like hanging in. It's not like you have the most wonderful time in the Premier League. I've always said if Everton went down and then won the league and came back up, and you had all the bloody everybody in Everton was hanging from street posts as the team came through Liverpool on a team bus, would be a lot better than just hanging in the Premier League by the skin of your teeth. You'd have been, you would have a few times been better to go down and have all that joy, and you'd have experienced what it feels like to do it, to get promotion. Michael A says, too many broken false promises from our ambitious chairman. Not good enough. Yeah, well, he is kind of, he is, well, they took me in, they gave me a bollocking for saying that the training ground wasn't happening, and all I was saying at the time was it wasn't happening, because it wasn't happening. Until it's happening, it's not happening, is it? All I said was it wasn't happening. They were so angry with me about that, as if I'd said something really bad, and I thought, well, what have I said that's wrong? It's not happening. Has there a digger gone in? Has a spade gone in? Has the planning permission been approved? Are you starting it? No. So until you are, it's not happening. And that thing I said 2 years ago still stands true today. doesn't it? It's not happening. I was taken in, given an absolute bollocking for saying that on a video. I had to apologise about it, and I had to come on and apologise about that, you know, it is happening. I've just meant, well, anyway, another story. WG fan says, will Tyra, Afire and Gabriel renew their... Will Tyra, Afire and Gabriel renew their contracts before the end of the season? Well, Tyra's not ours. There's only Gabriel's. No, those three. Tyra and Afire are loans, so they're already contracted to their own clubs. Gabriel is I don't know. Is his contract up? Because I don't know. Because he's not getting much game time, is he? He can't get in. Semi-Charlie says, to your point, yes, some feel the Premier League isn't very good. Top clubs are protected, get their way. Well, that's true, isn't it? But we just like just to be in it for one, just to be in it and get the 150. You know, we didn't get the 90 million, the 96 million or whatever it was at the Oysters, because they just took it all, didn't they? And they just took it all out and put it all into different companies and moved it around. Then had to give Bellicon his 30-odd million, 34 million or whatever it was. So it was just ruined. So we were just like, to have that money. I'd be happy staying in the Championship if we were always up near the top. You know, if we were a really good, great, and we saw lots of wins in the Championship. I just in the end, I want to be somewhere, not League One. I just can't stand League One. Trying to do what Oxford did last season with that last playoff spot to try and go up. Well, Blackpool have always done that. We're not trying to do an Oxford. We're trying to do a Blackpool, aren't we? That's what we do. We always get in, sneak in at the end and get up. Gonna head off late. Okay, we'll watch the rest of the stream when I wake up tomorrow. I'm going as well, so there won't be any more stream. Thanks a lot for sticking with. I'm going in a minute because I've got to get to bed as well. I got to be up to run Jane to the station and at 6:45 in the morning, so I've got to go. I've been on it 3 hours, so we've done enough. Soon Manchester City will be out of the Premier League, and then it'll restore a bit of spirit in the league. Will they? Are they going to be out? I'm not sure. Fletcher's got his confidence back, which he'd lost the last few seasons. He's got his mojo back, thanks to Steve Bruce, has made the play he once was. Yeah, that's why he signed. Somebody bought him for 6 million. He's back to that player, isn't he? And he's looking it. I think they're going to get away with it as well. Yeah, I think they're going to get away with it. I don't know. They've got bigger lawyers than Premier League, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, innit? I don't know if they will. They'll get a slap on the wrist, yeah. I have a feeling that's all they're going to get as well. Michael Haig says, as a lifelong fan of the club, like Simon, Lee for the rest, for the life of me, why he's based in Oxford, Wigan, you would have thought he would be hands-on and living local Lytham or wherever he may be. You know, he's very private in his life, and he doesn't really want, you know, he doesn't want any of his private life. He's just, that's the kind of person he is. Well, he could have bought Close and Horse for sale. Semi-Charlie life. It's only been the last handful of years we've struggled at Everton, 70 consecutive years, top flight football and 9 league champions. It feels like Everton have been struggling for a long time. They always get out of it, but it just feels like you've got out of it a lot of times. I don't know. It just feels that way. I can't. It just feels that way. Maybe it isn't, but trust me, I'm always looking at Everton thinking, God, are they going to get out of it again this year? And they have done, but yeah, but you've never, you know, it's just like, it's a bit like Preston in a way, where they've been in the Championship for years, but they're just never ever going to do they're never going to do anything in it, are they? I hope you do. I hope the new stadium changes it for Everton. You have your moment of glory. Maybe you win the Premier League and, you know, do that. That would be great, wouldn't it? You know, I have nothing against Everton, so. But yeah, if you'd have got relegated and won the Championship and come back up, you would have had, you know, massive celebrations. Semi-Charlie said he was made up to see Blackpool in the Premier League, but now just want to get back to the Championship. Well, you can't get to the Premier League without getting to the Championship first. That's a given. There's no way of, you know, bypassing it, getting an instant pass into the Premier League, like winning the FA Cup or something in League One and getting in the Premier League. So yeah, we've got to get in the Championship. That's very important. Well, you don't smash him in for me, Goldbridge, Callum. Maybe for Semi-Charlie Live. WG fan says what Everton is to the Premier League is what Colchester is to League Two. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Right, thanks a lot, folks. I'm going to get off. Thanks for sticking and having a bit of fun with me and listening to me rabbit on about stuff. But I think we're all agreed we've got a chance. That's it. We've got a chance. Massive game coming up. Reading. And all I can say is be there. Don't not be there and then rue the fact that they haven't made it and they've lost. Be there and cheer them. Yes, well, I thought we would too. I actually had a feeling that we were going to build and get back in. We're only... trust me, should Sadler not back in properly in the summer transfer window, he will walk. You heard it first. This has been confirmed. Well, let's hope he does back him then. Let's hope he does back him. We're only 5 points away. Right. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't be bickering between yourselves in the chat. I know. Right. Anyway, thanks. I've enjoyed your company tonight. I hope you've enjoyed mine. And just come on the pill. I'll see you all maybe in another live stream on Wednesday night when we beat Reading. So I like doing these when we win. You know, I hate doing them when we lose and I'm moaning, but I'm full of hope. I'm full of hope. Who should you get on your new shirt? What, new Blackpool shirt? Well, don't get Ennis. don't get Tyra. Don't get who else? Don't get Silvera. And don't get a fire because they're not going to be here. That's it. Go with Bloxham. Bloxham, yeah. That's what I'd have. Who I would have on my shirt, and they're bound to have plenty of X's, so they won't be out of X's in the club shop. If you want it on Bloxham, yeah. But he's going to be a bloody star for Blackpool. There's no doubt about him. Every time I see him, he's still just. You feel he's nursing his injury back, and he's not quite 100% back yet. But yeah, Bloxham on the back of your shirt. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us, Semi-Charmed Life and your bloody Premier League team. But at least you do have a soft spot for Blackpool. So thanks for joining. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one. Oh, is it? Is it midnight? Right. See you later. Bye.